that one forward, finds Carter Lowe through the neutral zone. Lowe waits, takes the shot, kicks aside, rebound, scores! Cole Bodwin!
Welcome to the Harry Lumley Bay Shore Community Center in Owen Sound as we get ready for tonight's matchup between the Barrie Colts and the hometown Owen Sound Attack. I'm your host, Mike Poirier, joined alongside Josh McCann, and belated
Thanksgiving. Yeah, I guess so.
Did you get enough turkey?
I did. In fact, I had leftover turkey and stuffing today as I was getting ready to come down here.
Oh, so you're well prepared.
Yep, very well prepared.
Well, we will be catching up with Dylan Smoskowitz in a few moments with the Coach's Corner. As got to catch up with him. He's a big turkey guy, so we talked a bit about Thanksgiving for him. But for the Colts, there's a few things to be thankful for as they come out of the weekend. We saw that they were able to get a good start to the game Saturday night against the Brampton Steelheads. They had that 2-0 advantage, but that inconsistency became a problem yet again in that hockey game and ended up losing to their Central Division rivals.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, we were watching the game, and off the start, you're thinking, oh, maybe the Barrie Colts have kind of figured things out here. They looked solid against the Ottawa 67s and had that big comeback victory a week ago against Niagara, and you're seeing things kind of shift into motion. And then late in that first period, the Colts allow a goal to Brampton that kind of got the Steelheads back in the game and maybe motivated them, as from that point on, it really felt like it was all Steelheads, and it reflected on the shot counter, 46 for the Steelheads. I mean, Brampton's had a decent start to the year, but that's not a team you should be giving up 46 shots to on any night, really.
Yeah, you can't be taking those risks, but also to note, the Barrie Colts were without Gabriel Eliasson for those 2 games, serving that 3-game suspension. Not in the lineup again here tonight, the final game of that suspension. So Jack Pollock, he's a defenseman that came in. He was called up to fill in, and man, oh my, I was really impressed with his play with the Barrie Colts.
Yeah, I mean, he's the latest one of a few Barrie Colts young defensemen that have came in and really looked solid. And one thing is, you didn't really notice Pollock a lot because he was playing such a good defensive game that you weren't really focused on mistakes he was making. And goes along with what we've been saying about Teague Vader, Cole Emerton, Ethan Armstrong. They're having really great starts to their season. Pollock, of course, out of the lineup tonight as Justin Hanser returns as well.
Yeah, so the blue line's starting to get a little more healthier here for the Barrie Colts. And this is an arena they've been to already once this season. I feel like we were just here yesterday at the Bay Shore, but this is the 3rd meeting already between these two Highway 26 rivals. The first 2 games, the close variety. The first one, the Colts lost in a shootout to the Owen Sound Attack. The second time here at the Bay Shore was another single goal deficit. But this is an Owen Sound Attack team that plays the Barrie Colts hard.
Yeah, they've played really strong against pretty much everyone this season. The Owen Sound Attack have been one of the better teams in the OHL. Not really something we expected. I thought they'd be better than last year, but I didn't expect them to contend for first in the division and the conference. They've been really strong, really great against the Colts as well. We saw in that first game, it was really all Owen Sound, but Ben Arebic kept making some big stops, stopping 51-52 in that game. Second time around, it was a bit tighter, but you saw in that game the Colts would have some good stretches, but then the good stretch that Owen Sound responded with always seemed to be better than what that Colts good stretch was.
Yeah, and so the Owen Sound Attack, with the Kitchener Rangers winning yesterday against the Guelph Storm, 1 point separates those 2 teams at the top of the Midwest Division. It's it's different seeing the Owen Sound Attack top spot in the Midwest, which has been dominated over the years by the London Knights, and I want to say it's almost refreshing, especially if you're coming from the viewpoint of a team in the Midwest Division.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's a fun environment here as well in Owen Sound. This is a fan base that's really committed to the Owen Sound Attack, and it's nice for them to get to experience this. I mean, the London Knights have kind of taken over that division these last few years, but Owen Sound and Kitchener both looking strong to start the year, and Owen Sound especially.
And the Windsor Spitfires right now tops in the Western Conference standings, 5 points up on the Owen Sound Attack entering today's action. The Spitfires have played 2 more games than the Owen Sound Attack, but it's going to be a dogfight no matter what at the top of the Western Conference with the way things are shaping up.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you got those 3 teams. The Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds have had
on ahead of tonight's hockey game. Catching up with Barrie Colts head coach Dylan Smoskowitz, and it's now post-Thanksgiving. Are you Thanksgiving out at all after all your family events?
I'm not. I'm a big turkey guy, and I'm a big family guy. So if it was getting together with the family and seeing my parents and my sisters and having my mom make a turkey for me every single day, I'd be okay with that. So I'm not Thanksgiving down, no.
So you're doing all the turkey leftovers for the week?
Definitely, it's the best. The leftovers are the best, whether it's turkey or some squash soup. I still have some stuffing at home. Me and my fiance, we got a bunch of a bunch of good stuff in the fridge right now, so we don't have to worry about our meal prepping or what we're gonna have for dinner or lunch the next day. So we're pretty happy, the two of us.
Oh, that's awesome. And now it's getting back to business. You coming off the weekend, a loss to the Brampton Steelheads, 2 losses at home to Brampton and Ottawa, but it seemed as though you guys had some spurts there where you guys were in charge. You're getting the forecheck, you're getting the shots. Is it the consistency that you're still trying to get these guys to follow through with?
Yeah, most definitely. It's the consistency, and it's really just not shooting ourselves in our own feet. You know what I mean? And it's, we really haven't felt like a team has really given it to us yet, or a team has earned the 2 points that we've given away. And that's exactly what it is. We feel like we've been giving it away. So a lot of conversation, a lot of video, the guys understanding, really what the task at hand is, what our priorities are, and looking to put it together here for a good 60 minutes in a tough rink against a tough team, but a really good opportunity for us.
And you faced a little adversity on the back end with Eliason out with the suspension. Hanser was out for a couple of games. Hanser, I'm seeing, is back in the lineup here tonight?
Yep, yeah, Justin's back in. He's 100% ready to go. Our doctors and training staff did a great job of healing him up, so he's had some good contact practices this week after Thanksgiving where he's felt good, so we're happy to see him back. But, it's kind of that next man up mentality that we have here in Barrie, and Jack Pollock, our call-up from Collingwood, did a very an outstanding job for us, taking his place. And, now with Hans back and Gabe serving his last game in his suspension today, we're kind of almost back to full health and full power. So really looking forward to having all of our guys back.
And you guys have already played Owen Sound twice before this. You guys are getting quite familiar with this attack team. Is that a benefit for you guys getting ready for tonight?
Well, I think it goes both ways, right? As much as we're familiar with them, you can say the same thing that they're familiar with us. The one thing I will say is that I can tell our guys are getting a little bit pissed off kind of leaving here and not having those 2 points in our back pocket and seeing the smiles on the Owen Sound guys' faces. So, again, they're a good team. They're working really hard. They're really well coached. We have a ton of respect for this team. But I can tell there's a little bit more juice in our guys today about coming in here and really wanting those 2 points.
So that was our Mariposa School of Skating Coach's Corner with Dylan Smoskowitz. And Dylan talking about how the guys a little frustrated seeing the smiles on the face of the Owen Sound Attack the last time they were here at the Bayshore. And this rivalry, the Highway 26 rivalry, alive and well. And it's kind of fitting that this weekend's also rivalry week in the OHL. The Colts are going to have that home and home with the North Bay Battalion. But this rivalry is just as big when it comes to the Barrie Colts.
Yeah, I was just about to say before you stole it there that it feels like an unofficial start to rivalry week with the Colts and the Attack. And it is something that we saw those first 2 games against these teams. You're watching and it feels like it's almost a divisional battle late in the season that's big for seeding, the way those 2 teams were going at it. Tons of physicality, tons of fighting. I remember Calvin Crombie and Jacob Therrien almost dropping gloves in the penalty box. That was very interesting to see. And then we saw a couple more incidents here at the Bayshore. We saw Pierce Bowie drop the gloves with Jaden Newton. That was pretty interesting to see. So yeah, feels like a rivalry, even though it's an Eastern Conference versus Western Conference matchup. And that's what happens when you play so many times a year like the Colts and Attack do.
Well, if we could have a playoff matchup between the Colts and the Attack, I don't think many people would complain about a matchup like that if that could happen. But obviously the only way that would happen is if they met in the OHL final. But that's way down the line. We don't need to get ahead of ourselves. But still, it's always exciting when these 2 teams go head-to-head. Now, our scratches tonight, not in the lineup for the Owen Sound Attack. Matthew Kaprowski, Jacob Therrien, Mason Roy, and Landon Jackman. Those are your scratches for the Owen Sound Attack. And not in the lineup tonight for the Barrie Colts, Sam Black, Jack Pollock, Bodie Stewart, and Gabriel Eliason. And Bodie Stewart, a bit of a surprise seeing him as a scratch. He's been playing some fourth-line minutes for the Barrie Colts of late, but still, maybe a bit of a message here for Bodie Stewart.
Yeah, maybe. Bodie Stewart's a guy that coming into the season, I think Dylan Smoskowitz was hoping would take a step forward, and guy that played on the 3rd line a bit last year. So now a lot of guys moving on, and Smoskowitz hoping he can take an upgraded role into maybe a top 6 role, especially after Riley Patterson got traded and Emil Hemming left to go to the AHL. But the Colts really haven't seen that out of Bodie Stewart. He hasn't taken that step forward. He ended up down on the 4th line for a couple games, as you mentioned, and this maybe he's hurt and we don't know about that. Maybe just trying to get some other players a look. Luke Govro's back in the lineup. Eamon Eggers up on the 3rd line tonight. So I think Dylan Smoskowitz was looking to make a couple changes tonight in hopes of an improved game from the Barrie Colts.
And we do see quite a few consistencies with the Barrie Colts lineup, especially the top 6, but it is interesting to see how Dylan Smoskowitz likes to rotate the bottom 6. Still trying to think to find that right chemistry so you can have 4 scoring lines in any given night. And having Edgar there between Schneid and Newton, I think this has a lot of potential. And I think we did see this a bit in the preseason.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting line to see. And even Edgar, I mean, that's a guy that has played with Jonah McCormick, Sam Black, Luke Govro down on that fourth line. And there's nothing wrong with those players, but they're more that physical presence. They aren't going to light up the score sheet. They're going to lay guys out in the corner, and there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not the style of hockey that Eamon Edgar is going to play for this Barrie Colts team. So to get him up on that third line with William Schneid, who's had a solid start to his year, and then Jaden Newton, who scored here at the Bayshore last time the Barrie Colts were here, I think he could be a very interesting player to watch tonight as he tries to get things going.
So we do appreciate everyone tuning in already for the broadcast. We're about 2.5 minutes away from puck drop here at the Bayshore. And just a reminder that we do have the chat option available. We'll be going into the chat in the intermission. So if you have any questions, comments, or anything you want to talk about with the Barrie Colts or OHL related, you can put your questions and comments there. I am seeing that the stream must have dipped out a little bit a moment ago. The internet here at the Bayshore today, a little shaky. So I am seeing the numbers here. Looks like our internet is good right now, but we're basically at the mercy of technology. So we're going to stay on the air as best as we can. But right now it does look like we do have a stable stream as we're just now 2 minutes away from the start of the hockey game.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing you can never rely on is technology. No matter all these improvements that apparently we've made in technology, we can't rely on internet connection. But yeah, looks like we're getting things going here, and should be a pretty fun game tonight. I know the Barrie Colts are probably going to come out motivated. I mean, 2 tough losses over the weekend, and get playing an Owen Sound Attack team that's played them tough so far this year. And for Owen Sound, wanting to stay hot for as long as possible, try and catch up to Windsor. They got a couple games in hand. I'm sure they'd love to fight for first place in the Western Conference this season.
And this could be a bit of a statement game, too, for the Barrie Colts, playing a team like the Owen Sound Attack that was rated at one point in the CHL top 10, but now they've been dropped out. But, you know, this is a very talented group, and I know they're catching people by surprise, but still, for the Barrie Colts, you want to get off to that hot start, especially when you know that you have the North Bay Battalion coming up this weekend with the rivalry week.
Yeah, I think those are going to be 2 big games. And even though it's early in the year, you can still look at the standings and say that the Barrie Colts are currently 8th place. That's not really a position you want to be in. And no matter what time of year it is, you got to get those 2 points. And big weekend for Barrie Colts, 3 games. All 3 of them are going to be pretty tough. So they're going to have to bring a good game, and they're not going to be able to take long stretches off like we've seen. We're going to need a full 60 out of the Barrie Colts if they want to get a victory.
Yeah, so it's going to be a very fascinating hockey game. The players are on the ice. They're doing their player introductions, and we'll get this game underway as these 2 teams, they don't really like each other, but the big difference is Jacob Therrien not in the lineup tonight for the Owen Sound Attack. He's been a bit of a thorn in the side for the Colts the previous 2 matchups, so we'll see how this dynamic shifts. We also noticed it during the warm-up, how there weren't those conversations at center ice like the previous 2 games. So it's just the dynamics when you take one player
more relaxed.
Exactly. So it's amazing how that one dynamic can really shift the game.
Yeah, it's really funny to see. I mean, like, no one was really at the red line at all, and we saw Calvin Crombie go up there at one point, but no challengers at all, really.
So we are just about ready to go here at the Bayshore. They're just doing a moment of silence here for Helen Lewis, who is an important member of the Owen Sound Attack off the ice with their fan group. So they're just doing a bit of a moment of silence here, and then we will get puck drop underway in just a few minutes. So we are ready to go here at the Bay Shore for the Barrie Colts and the Owen Sound Attack. While we have a moment, let's take a look at our starting goaltenders.
After the away team, Barrie Colts, it's Ben Horebic making his 7th start of the season. Horebic 1-3-2 coming into today with a .918 save percentage and a .325 goals against average. His last game came Saturday against the Steelheads, stopped 41 of 46 in a loss and stopped 51 of 52 the last time he faced this Owen Sound team back on September 25th. For the Owen Sound Attack, it's Carter George back in net for the Attack. In 5 games so far, George 4-1-0 with a .913 save percentage and a .276 goals against average. George stopped 41 of 45 in a 6-4 win for Owen Sound on Saturday against North Bay, and he stopped 23 of 24 back at the Sadlin Arena on September 25th.
Our referees tonight, Ryan Elbers and Mac Nickel, and on the lines, Gage Argue and David Milne, as we are just about ready to go here to get this game underway. It's the Highway 26 rivalry, the 3rd chapter. The Owen Sound Attack have won the previous 2 meetings, and we'll see what's in store here tonight as Cole Baudouin gets ready to line up to take the draw against Jake Crawford. And we are underway. Face-off won by the Colts. Aitchison will send that one back to Cole Emerton. Here's Baudouin at center ice. He's going to dump it in. Puck goes deep. Out of his net to play it is Carter George. Baudouin gets a stick on it deep in the attack zone. At the blue line, Aitchison, he knocks it down, but gave that one up to Mason Ray. Ray puts that one up the wing. Chasing after it is Crawford back behind the Colts net. He's taken down by Aitchison. Play continues. Aitchison, he's taken into the boards by Nancy. Battle ensues. Loose puck. Crawford in front, but Ray couldn't get a stick on it. Roberts will send that one down low. Ray, he's tied up. Crawford picks it up here. He's in a battle with Joe Salandra in the corner. Baudouin's going to collect it now for the Colts. Passes it across, but no one's there. Puck comes back to the point, and the Colts will get it out to the neutral zone. Rogers back to Roberts. Loose puck at center, picked up by Nancy. He'll set up Crawford. Crawford will dump it in here for the Attack. Puck takes a weird bounce, picked up by Crombie. Calvin Crombie reaches center ice, weaving in. He's going to dump this into the attack zone. Crombie chasing after it, picks up his own loose puck. Bowie knocked that one away for the Attack. It's at center ice, picked up by Hanser. Hanser up to the blue line. Crombie trying to send it in. Budkowski's there. And we're going to get our first whistle, as it's going to be an offside call, I do believe, against the Barrie Colts.
Well, it's interesting seeing some of these new lines. You saw there Baudouin, Salandra, and Desiderio line we saw together in the preseason, and then Cole Emerton up with Kayshawn Aitchison. Emerton, a guy that's had a really strong start to his rookie year and has kind of gotten more and more opportunities to play with Aitchison since Aitchison's return, and that's actually something I talked about with Emerton before the game, and we'll hear more about that at first intermission.
I was going to say, you had a great conversation with Cole Emerton pregame, so we'll hear that coming up at the end of the first period. Colts win the draw. They shoot that one wide of the net. Hanser keeps it in at the point. Down low, it's Crombie. One-timer, Asadorian, but he puts that one wide. Passmore at the blue line, but they're going to say that is offside.
Nice opportunity there for Asadorian, seeing this second line out here. A bit of an overager line with Crombie, Asadorian, and Gardner, but Asadorian coming close there to getting the Colts on the board. It's only a minute and a half in, but the Colts off to a pretty solid start here.
Well, it's kind of like what we saw Saturday against the Brampton Steelheads. The Colts dominating the first 10 minutes of that hockey game. They had the 2-0 advantage, but they kind of took their foot off the gas, and the Steelheads came back in that one. But right now, no score as the puck goes deep in the attack zone. Edgar chasing after it. Far side. Passmore can't get to it. Puck will escape the zone. Schneid. He'll turn this one around at center ice. Edgar. He'll carry this one in for the Colts on the near side. Facing a battle there with Bowie. Puck goes back behind the Owen Sound net. Newton comes out from the corner. He's knocked over by Bedkowski. The Attack will move it up. Sikora on the wing. Hanser knocked that one away from him. Puck rolls to the corner. Hanser in a battle with Sikora. Colts defenseman back in the lineup after missing the last 2 games. Drops that one back. Edgar will take it around his own net. Leeman Edgar off the glass, down the ice. Newton chasing after it. Loose puck right at center. Schneid had his stick lifted by Deck. Deck takes it the other way for the Attack, trying to go to the net. Hanser blocks his path. Puck goes back behind the Colts net. Hanser will give that one up to Evan Passmore up the wing. Schneid at center. He'll dump it in. He's going to go off for a change. The Attack. Get this one to center ice. Zarowski. He's stopped. Carter Lowe in the neutral zone. Trying to get it ahead to McCormick. Puck bouncing at the Attack blue line. Owen Sound trying to move it forward, but Teague Vader was in the way. He's going to send that one back into the Owen Sound zone where Greenberg will collect it. The Attack move it to the other side as Banks sends this one deep. Max DeLille collecting it here for Owen Sound into the offensive end. He's forced to the corner by Vader. There's a big hit. Carter Lowe picks up the loose puck. Lowe tied up by Deck. Deck can't get that one by the Colts forward. Puck ends up in the neutral zone. Vedkowski will take this one back into his own zone. Passing that one across. The attack, get this one out. Zarowski tipped it in the Colts zone. Doesn't go too far. Armstrong to Vader. We just passed the 3-minute mark of the first period. Still looking for our first goal of the hockey game. Cole Baudouin has it at center. Bowie takes it away from him. Nelson dumps this one in. Around the boards it goes. At the point, Desiderio will get it out. Here's Rogers at his own blue line. That pass gets across. Nelson carrying it in for Owen Sound. Takes the shot to the net. And Harebic able to get a glove on that as we continue to go end to end. But just one shot so far, and that's in favor of the Owen Sound Attack.
Yeah, not a lot of shots. It's nice to see Cole Zarowski back out there. Last time we were here, Owen Sound went down awkwardly on his shoulder after a hit from Evan Passmore. Had to skate off the ice, missed 3 games, but back here tonight against Barrie Colts.
Yeah, Zarowski, a big pickup at the trade deadline last year from the Flint Firebirds. They've got high expectations for him on this team, as him and Pierce Bowie, they're the core of this team. And we'll see how this all plays out. Right now, things working out in Owen Sound's favor as the Colts will get this one down the length of the ice. And that's now an icing call against Barrie. So we'll do this face-off over again with 16:20 left in the first.
That's something we talked about before the season with Zarowski and Bowie. I mean, okay, last year was your rookie year, now second year in the OHL, draft-eligible season. It's time to get going, time to prove yourself. Bowie had an excellent year. Zarowski started to improve as he came over to Owen Sound, and they're looking to help lead this team to maybe a Western Conference final this year.
Well, for Pierce Bowie, he's riding a 7-game point streak coming into tonight's action. He's second in team scoring with 10 points, 5 goals, 5 assists. The Colts get this one out to center ice. Crawford will pick it up now for the attack. Up to Nancy. He'll backhand this one into the Colts zone. Aitchison will be the first one on it for Barrie. Along the board, Salandra tied up by Rogers, but he tips this one out to the neutral zone. Roberts finds it for Owen Sound. He'll send it right back into the Barrie zone. Harebic, back of his net to play it. Here's Emerton up the wing. Baudouin couldn't get a stick on it, so the attack regroup in their own zone. Rogers up the middle, trying to connect there with Ray, but that's going to be an icing call, and we'll bring this face-off back into the Owen Sound end.
On Saturday after the Colts loss, I was down with Gene Pereira when he did his interview with Dylan Smoskowitz, and listening to Smoskowitz, I mean, obviously he's upset about the loss, but he was still all calm, cool, and collected. He truly believes this Barrie Colts team still has time to improve and figure things out. He's not in panic mode yet, which was really nice to see out of a rookie head coach who's showing how calm he can be for his team.
Oh, it's amazing how calm, cool, and collected Dylan Smoskowitz is, and it's hard to tell sometimes that this is his first season behind the bench for the Barrie Colts. He just seems so comfortable back there.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, what I was trying to get at is that sometimes you get a rookie coach, maybe he's starting to panic early because this is his first games as a coach, but Smoskowitz looking like a veteran behind the bench is going to be big for this Barrie Colts team.
And the other thing, too, Smoskowitz, I think he's having a blast being the head coach. And it's been great catching up with him in the Coach's Corner pregame as he's loving it. But we'll see after 34 games if he's still enjoying the interviews.
The way he talks, the way his voice is, I truly believe anything that guy says.
The attack, get it deep into the Colts zone. Nancy was blocked. The attack will take it back, or the Colts rather take it back the other way. Hands are stopped. Here's Bowie into the attacking zone. Takes the shot, stopped by Harebic. Rebound picked up by Crombie. Nancy, though, picks his pocket. Here's Bowie, and he puts that one wide of the net. Greenberg at the point. Keeps this one in for Owen Sound. That's going to go around the boards. Crombie gets to it for the Colts. Trying to flip this one out to center. Second time, no. Blocked again by Bowie. Passmore will take it back behind his own net. Up the ice, Greenberg keeps it at the point for Owen Sound. Macedorian trying to knock it off his stick. There's the pass. No one there for Owen Sound. Sikora on the far side. Gives it up to Greenberg. Greenberg back to the blue line. Banks passes this one ahead. Here's Sikora down low, trying a lift that he was looking to do the Michigan. Sends it back to Greenberg. Takes the shot, stopped by Harebic. And the Colts will get this one down the ice. No icing as that puck will slow right down. A good curling shot there from the Colts defense. As we're approaching the 6-minute mark now of the first period, still no score between the attack and the Colts. Harebic dropping the puck as he was trying to catch it in the air. Colts get it to the line and out. Delayed offside here against Owen Sound. Horebic will give that. Kayshawn Aitchison sets things up behind his own net. The Colts still looking for their first shot of the hockey game. Owen Sound leading in that category, 3-0. Emerton sends it ahead. Edgar will chase after it. Bedkowski, first one on it for Owen Sound. Aitchison at the point. He'll send this one back behind the Owen Sound net. Emerton goes after it. Back to Edgar. Edgar from the corner. He takes a bump. Here's Jaden Newton. Newton drops it back. Schneid can't get to it. Arnett will collect it now for the attack. Up the wing. Owen Sound trying to get it out. They will. Chasing after it is Max DeLille. DeLille blocks the clearing attempt by Emerton. He's going to send this one around. Newton up the middle. Dangerous pass there. Bedkowski at the point. Sends that one off the end boards. Dex taken down. Play continues. DeLille in front. Zarowski couldn't get a stick on it. Here's Bedkowski now at the blue line. Across. Trying to set up Arnett. After it is Zarowski. Taken away by the Colts, and they'll move this one out. Schneid reaches center. He's taken down by Arnett as the Colts will make a line change. Back behind his own net. Bedkowski, the captain of the Owen Sound Attack. They'll leave it there as the Attack move it up. With it there was Nelson. He'll send it deep. Delivers a hit there on Vader, who plays it over to Carter Lowe. That puck will escape the zone at center ice, picked up here by the Attack. They're going to dump this one back in. Horebic to Vader. Vader passing it there back and forth behind his own net. Now they'll send it up ice, but that's going to be another icing call here against the Barrie Colts. Is still looking for that first shot of the game with 12:23 still to work with in the first period.
Yeah, they've had a couple moments where they've been moving the puck around in the offensive zone, but just haven't been able to get a shot on net. We saw the fourth line out there, and the guy on there, that fourth line right now is Carter Lowe, maybe similar to Bodie Stewart, a guy Dylan Smoskowicz trying to send a message to saying, hey, we need you to get going. You need to be one of our top players. Lowe, a bit of a slow start to the year, has had some solid games, including the last time we were here, scored a shorthanded goal against this Owen Sound Attack team. But the Colts obviously looking for more out of Carter Lowe right now.
Yeah, Carter Lowe coming into this game, 3 goals, 2 assists, 5 points. And then Bodie Stewart, who's the scratch tonight, 1 assist in 9 games, which is uncharacteristic for him, considering last year at this point, we were talking about all the assists he was earning last year. His nickname was the Orchard with all the apples.
Well, he was leading the team in points, but he didn't have a goal. It was very weird to see. It's not something you usually see at the beginning of the year, but Stewart just seemed to keep getting those assists. Took him forever to get the goals, but eventually a couple of them did come, but the assists haven't been there this year, and Colts scratching him today, like we said in the pregame. Don't know if it's injury related or if it's a healthy scratch, but Barrie Colts obviously wanting more out of Bodie Stewart nonetheless.
Face-off scramble to the right of Ben Horebic. The Attack get it back to the line. That's going to be kept in. Armstrong back behind his own net. Gives it up to Crombie. Moving it up the wing. That's Govro. Govro sending this one deep. Banks will be the first one on it for Owen Sound. He'll flip it back behind his own net. Carter Lowe gets the loose puck. Lowe sends that one around. McCormick gives chase. Can't get to that puck in time as the Attack will regroup. Now it's Banks sending it up the wing, trying to find Nancy. Puck bouncing off the end boards. Horebic will play it, so no icing. Hanser collects the puck for the Colts. He'll reach his own blue line at center. Justin Hanser carrying it in. Hanser on the wing, backhand pass, trying to go to Lowe, but getting in the way there was Greenberg. Hanser gets it again, back to the blue line. Salandra to Passmore, didn't control that pass cleanly. Sends it behind the net to Desiderio. Salandra from the far boards, sends this one deep to the corner. Desiderio's there in a battle with Banks. Nicholas Desiderio dropping it back, but Crawford read that play. Baudouin gets to it, however. Desiderio taken to the boards by Banks. Baudouin trying to help out his teammate there along the boards. Puck taken away by the Attack, and they'll get this one out. Emerton back after it here for the Colts. Long stretch pass, finds Baudouin on the wing, enters the zone. Baudouin trying to send it around, but the Attack will clear it down the ice. Not enough for icing, so Cole Emerton is there to collect it. Gives it up to Kayshawn Aitchison. Aitchison across. Loose puck at the line. Desiderio catches up to it. Takes the shot. Stopped by George. That's the first shot of the game for the Barrie Colts. Desiderio gets it. Keeps it in play. He ended up losing an edge. Roberts will collect it now for the Attack. Puck's picked up. There's a turnover. Calvin Crombie with possession. Crombie with a shot. Stopped by George. Aitchison keeps this one down low. Crombie trying that quick pass. He had Rogers in the way. Macedonian on the far side. Drops it there for Emerton. Can't keep it in as Bowie will knock it out. At the attack blue line, it's Calvin Crombie. Sends this one in. Roberts. His pass picked off by Gardner. Gardner across, but couldn't get to Crombie. Puck's loose, and the attack will pick it up. It's Tristan DeLille through the neutral zone. DeLille to Deck. Deck hits the brakes, sends it across, but Gardner disrupts that pass. Colts get it to the line, not out. Owen Sound trying to get to that loose puck. Now it's sent in by Arnett. Puck's down low behind the Colts net. It's Tristan DeLille. Leaving it there for Deck up the middle, but Gardner was there. Bedkowski can't get a stick on it. Now the Colts will move it up. Calvin Crombie at center is just going to send this one deep, but that's going to be an icing call now against the Barrie Colts. But a nice little spurt there where the Colts were starting to control the play a little bit.
Yeah, it seemed like any time Owen Sound tried to get out of the zone, the Colts were sneaking in, forcing turnovers. Nicholas Desiderio going up the side here. Puck got deflected. He gloved it down perfectly to come in on the opportunity. And then Gardner with the turnover. A couple chances for the Colts, but they couldn't seem to still find shots.
Well, even Brad Gardner picking off a couple of passes there. So starting to see the Colts move a little more here in this first period. 9.5 minutes left to go here in the first period. Still no score. Max DeLille has it in the corner for the attack. His pass taken away by Crombie, and he'll get this out. Now the Colts can make a change. Bedkowski in front of his own net sends this one ahead. Zarowski will just send it deep, but they're going to say he touched it before the red line, so now it's an icing call, and Zarowski doesn't agree with it.
That looks like the officials all agree, though, that it's going to go down the other way, and Max DeLille out there on the ice, still looking for that first career OHL goal. Has 4 assists so far, solid start to his season, and got named to the U17 World Challenge earlier today, along with a bunch of other OHLers.
Yeah, pretty exciting times to find out who's going to be competing in that tournament coming up in the fall. As Aitchison sends that one wide of the net. Emerton on the far side, shot blocked by Newton. Newton passes it, but Aitchison wasn't there in time. Takes the shot, that's blocked by Bedkowski. Attack trying to move it up, kept in by Aitchison. Aitchison will send this one around the boards. Here's Edgar. Even Edgar back to the point. Takes the shot, send it through the crowd, but no one could get a stick on it. Cole Emerton now. Along the half boards, back to Edgar at the point. Passes it across. Schneid trying to go back to Aitchison, but Zarowski got a stick on it. Puck's bouncing at center ice, and Deck will dump it in. Zarowski after it. Takes the quick shot, but Horevic had the paddle down. Nelson trying to play it. It's in his skates. Colts get it to center ice. Flipping off the boards with Schneid. Newton couldn't get a stick on it. Puck comes to the near side, deep in the Owen Sound zone. We'll move this one ahead. Nelson got a stick on it, so no icing. Aitchison will be the first one on it for the Colts. Gives it to Beaudoin. Beaudoin surrounded by white sweaters. He'll play it back behind his own net. Gives it up to Newton. Newton backhand pass. Trying to go to Salandra. He was tied up. He's going to try and beat the icing. He will. Great race there by Salandra. Then he's tripped up. Colts want a penalty. None coming. The attack. They'll move this one ahead. Carrying this one through center is Nelson. He'll send it deep. Horevic back behind his own net. He'll send this one around. Colts after loose puck, but that's kept in by Nelson. Passmore follows it up. Here's Evan Passmore on the wing. Passes it to Beaudoin. Beaudoin with a shot, but Rogers was in the way. Puck goes to the corner. Beaudoin. He's tied up by Rogers. Nelson's now in the way. Deep in the Owen Sound zone. Here's Beaudoin. He'll come back to the line. Gives it to Passmore. Evan Passmore from the corner. Goes around the attack net. Pass it on the far side. Back to Hanser. Hanser takes the shot. Blocked by Micus. Micus trying to get it out. Hanser is there. He'll send it further into the attack zone. Beaudoin has it down low. Cole Beaudoin back to the line. Kept in by Crombie off the bench. Takes the shot through a crowd. Side of the net. Does Siderio, but the attack. They'll get it to the line. Not out. Kept in by Vader. Puck's in the corner. Vader again keeps this one at the blue line. He'll just put that back behind the Owen Sound net. Asadorian after it. Gives it up. There's the shot from Gardner. Stopped by George. In front. Rebound. George again. Pad down as he robbed Calvin Crombie point blank.
Another great shift for the Barrie Colts in this second line, and started with Gardner, or Asadorian, quickly coming into the zone off that Vader dump in to quickly grab the puck, getting it out front for Gardner. Initial stop by George. Gardner able to gather his own rebound behind the net. Had Crombie sitting out in front. defense was kind of distracted by Gardner. Crombie was able to get a clean shot off. George made the initial save and then was able to dive on it before Asadorian could sneak in there.
Well, it took the Barrie Colts almost half a period to get a shot on goal. Now we're tied at 4 apiece, and there's another shot as George is able to make the save. And right now, Calvin Crombie kind of parking himself in front of the net, getting the attention of the Owen Sound Attack.
Well, that's the game Crombie likes to play, and something we really saw online before the season from Brantford Bulldogs fans is that's a guy that's going to play hard. He's going to play with a lot of heart. He's going to get to those dirty areas in the zone, and that's a dream for a player like Brad who likes to score goals and get points. Having a guy like that that's going to tap a bunch of pucks in and grab stuff from the dirty areas.
It's the Attack making a late line change. Right now, referee Mac Nichol having a conversation with Scott Ray, who's pretty animated on the Owen Sound Attack bench.
That's the first issue they've had. I know the Colts have had their hands up a couple times. One was Harry Nancy holding Jonah McCormick, but wasn't called. And then the trip behind the net, but it looked like Salandra did actually just stumble on his own feet, wasn't tripped up.
So we get play back underway, face off to the right of George. The Attack will take it around their own net. Carrying it up is Pierce Bowie. Bowie at center. That pass is blocked. Getting a stick in the way there was Armstrong. Vader leans into Tristan DeLille. Puck goes behind the net. Bowie passes in front, but great stick work by Armstrong. Ethan Armstrong's going to go for a skate, reaches center and dumps it in. George playing it back behind the net. Greenberg takes the hit on the forecheck. There was McCormick. There's Govro throwing the weight too. Now the Attack move it through the neutral zone. Sikora sends it across. Tristan DeLille has that knocked off his stick by Aitchison. Aitchison runs into DeLille, but Keishon Aitchison may have got the worst of that. In front shot, scores! Sikora in front, quick pass. And it's 1-0 Owen Sound.
Nice play there by the Attack top line. And now Sikora shoves McCormick into the bench. That may be a penalty here against Sikora. After that, another look at the opportunity. Aitchison goes down, and that set the Colts up. Only Emerton out in front. DeLille able to play it down low to Bowie, and then he sticks it out front for Sikora. And now the Colts are going to get a power play. Sikora, as he was coming to the bench, gave McCormick a shove into the board. Bit of a dangerous play with that, with the bench door open, but McCormick all right, and the Colts are going to get a power play here.
So an unsportsmanlike penalty being handed out to Nicholas Sikora after he just scored his 8th goal of the season. Or actually, no, it's not going to be a power play. I thought they were going to give them the man advantage, but
Now they are.
oh, there they are. They had an extra player on the ice. So this Barrie Colts power play brought to you by Frontline Hockey Apparel. You can visit them at frontlinehockeyapparel.com. So this power play underway. The Colts man advantage right now, 4th best in the OHL at 25%. This Owen Sound penalty kill, 8th at 84.2%. Colts have it deep in the Owen Sound zone at the point. Emerton, he'll play it over to Aitchison. Keishon Aitchison back to Cole Baudouin. At the line, here's Emerton. Down low quickly to Baudouin. Takes the shot, stopped by George. Baudouin down low, finds Gardner. Back to Baudouin. Those two work to give and go at the point. Emerton takes the shot wide of the net after it is low. Can't get to it in time. Puck's in the corner. Low. His pass is blocked. And Nelson will clear it for the Attack. 1:10 left in the power play here for the Barrie Colts. They're down 1-0 after Nicholas Sikora opened the scoring. 5:07 left to go in the first period. Baudouin ahead to Desiderio. Desiderio from the corner takes the shot, floats over the Owen Sound net. We have a look like they were going to call a penalty, but no, it's just for the high stick. As the Attack get this one down the ice, 43 seconds left in the power play. Teague Vader will drop this one back at the line to Salandra. Salandra carrying this one in for the Colts, gives it up to Schneid. Schneid hits the brakes, back to Salandra, that got by him. Here's Desiderio now on the near side, gives that one up to Crombie. Crombie at the line to Vader. Teague Vader goes back to Crombie. Power play down to 20 seconds. Vader across Salandra. Salandra waits, down low quickly. Puck's rolling, and George will pounce on that as that pass just got away from Nicholas Desiderio at the side of the net.
Well, this is a Barrie Colts power play that started the year 1 for 13. Bit of a struggles to start the year. They were 1 for 2 on opening night. And then after that, they went on a long run where they couldn't seem to find the back of the net. And now they've started again. They're rolling at 25%. They got 13 more seconds here to try and capitalize on this power play.
So the power play continues here for the Colts. Face off to the left of George. Scrambled draw. The attack come up with it. Roberts can't get it out. Kept in by Acidorian. Acidorian shot blocked by Bedkowski. Acidorian gets it again. Across. Finds Crombie. Cross again. Trying to find Slander at the back door, but that doesn't work. Sikora back on the ice. And this is now 5-on-5 hockey. Colts keep this one in. Down low is Hanser. He's going to go around the net. That's deflected. And that'll go into the netting and out of play with 3:51 to go in this first period. And we're seeing more shots from the Barrie Colts, but the attack right now holding on to that 1-goal lead.
Yeah, it's funny how quickly a game can change. I mean, the Colts, it felt like they were starting to get the momentum and getting things clicking in the offensive zone. And then Owen Sound goes back the other way as one opportunity. And it's Nicholas Sikora capitalizing on it with the goal.
So the Colts were able to generate some chances there on that power play and some quick passing. That was the one chance where Salander at the back door. We've seen that the last couple of games where they're doing those tic-tac plays. And they got it to work against Brampton on Saturday, but not able there on that man advantage.
Yeah, and that's something we've seen the Barrie Colts like to do in the past years. And with some new players, maybe it took some time for them to get used to the way the Barrie Colts work their power play. But like you said, a good opportunity there for Salander. And if it wasn't for Noah Roberts sneaking in at the end there, Salander would have been wide open for the tap-in, but he's able to get the stick across, knock it down, and break that play up.
So it's the TV timeout here at the Bayshore. Just a reminder that coming up in the first intermission, Josh was able to catch up with Cole Emerton, and we'll have that interview for you coming up at the intermission. Plus, with this being a live stream on YouTube, we do have the chat open. So if you have any comments or questions and you want to have a conversation about something happening with the Barrie Colts or the rest of the OHL, you can put that there as, 3:51 left here in the period.
Chat's been rowdy tonight.
It has been. It's been great. I love it. I know the Blue Jays don't get underway until 8 o'clock, so we'll see what happens.
Everyone will go quiet then.
They got to get it out of their system now. So we'll get the face-off to the left of Carter George. Brad Gardner taking the draw. Tristan DeLille tossed out, so in comes Pierce Bowie. Pierce Bowie actually got an assist on the Sikora goal, so that extends his point streak to 8 games. Hanser's shot, that's blocked by Arnett. Redkowski will get this one to the line. Passmore couldn't keep it in. Now it's Bowie carrying it up into the attacking zone. Quick pass by Sikora. Bowie puts that one wide of the net. Sikora chasing after it here for the attack. He overskates it. DeLille there to collect it now for Owen Sound. He's tied up by Acidorian. Gives it up to Bowie. Passes it in front. Blocked by Passmore. Puck's bouncing. Colts get it out. Arnett tried to keep that one in. He comes back. Gives it up to Acidorian. Delayed offside here against Barrie. Acidorian's just going to dump this one in. George got under that one and quickly gives it up to David Bedkowski. Bedkowski moving it up now for the attack. We'll find Arnett. Arnett pumped there by Desiderio. Puck comes around the boards. Aitchison delivers the check on DeLille. Cole Beaudoin now with the loose puck. He'll drop this one back to Emerton. Emerton up the wing. Salandra sends this one deep back behind the Owen Sound net. George is there. Beaudoin's pass is deflected. And that's going to go out of play with 2:41 left now in the first period.
Would have been interesting to see if that one hadn't been deflected. George didn't get all of his pass, and Beaudoin had Desiderio charging the net. George was kind of right at the point where he was just getting back to the net. Would have been tough for him to get into position with Desiderio charging in really quickly.
So face off now to the right of the Owen Sound Attack netminder. Beaudoin taking the draw against Crawford. Scrambled draw. Colts come up with it. Salandra sends it across to Aitchison. Puck was bouncing, and now it's taken away by the attack. Trying to send that one into the zone was John Banks. Ends up back behind the Colts net. Beaudoin inside his own blue line. Sends it across to Aitchison at center. Sends it forward, but Greenberg was there. Now the other way, it's Bowie. Pierce Bowie carries this one in. Gets by Emerton. Puck rolls to the corner, however. Crawford couldn't get that one to go. It was blocked by Aitchison. Nancy's there. Can't keep that one. No, they say it isn't. Great work there by Harry Nancy. Desiderian flips this one out. Deflected by Salandra with a high stick. The attack will play it. Greenberg up to Banks. Here's Nancy at his own blue line. He's going to skate this one ahead. Gives it up to Crawford. Crawford takes the hit from Vader. Armstrong picks it up. Gives it up to Newton. Jaden Newton passing it forward to Schneid. Schneid sets up Edgar. Edgar leaving it for Schneid, but that one they're going to call offside as Edgar dropped it back over the blue line.
Well, as close as you can get there to being onside without being onside. The Colts nearly had a 3-on-2 opportunity there. If Schneid was just a bit farther ahead, but they're coming close to getting these good opportunities, just haven't been able to capitalize on them yet.
Well, the Colts out shooting the Owen Sound Attack 6-5 with a minute and a half remaining now in the first period. Still 1-0 for Owen Sound. Zarowski, he stopped at the blue line, second time across. Deck batted that one out of the air. Here's Max DeLille across. Newton was sliding, and that was taken away, and Harebic, he's going to cover this one up.
Well, one of Ben Harebic's less busy periods. I mean, it feels like whenever Ben's in net, he ends up in a scenario where facing 45, 50 shots. But Owen Sound will have to have a much more heavily shooting periods in the second and third if they want to get to 40, 45 here tonight. So hopefully Harebic maybe a more calmer 20, 25, 30 shot.
You know, it's a light 25. That's okay.
Well, for him this year.
Sounds like a weather forecast. It's a light 25
light
shots.
25.
So we're approaching the final minute here of the first period. Colts get it out to center ice. Roberts inside his own line, trying to play it ahead. Gardner's in the way, down and low. Baudouin, they'll take it around the net. Old Baudouin from the far boards. He does a lap in the Owen Sound zone, stays with it. Then he gives it up to Tristan DeLille. Final minute now in the first period. Delayed penalty call coming against Calvin Crombie. That's going to be for a hook. And the Owen Sound Attack, they're going to get their first power play of the night.
Yeah, Crombie just getting the stick in there on Roberts, trying to battle for the puck. Colts, we've seen these last couple games in the last minute of periods, kind of putting out a bit of a nuclear line with Baudouin and Gardner not really caring about who's center, who's not. And Crombie, Salandra usually coming out with them, and didn't work there with that penalty from Crombie.
So the Owen Sound Attack, they have the second best power play in the OHL at 32%, and the penalty kill for Barrie 18th at 73.3%. It's a little lopsided on the stats as Greenberg sends it back to Zarowski. Zarowski shot on goal, and Harebic at the top of the blue paint is able to make the save.
Critical 31 seconds here for the Barrie Colts. You're already down one. You don't want to head into the breakdown two with a bit of a back-breaking last-minute goal. Kind of similar to allowing that goal against Brampton on Saturday. Allow one to get them back in the game late, and things didn't turn out their way after that.
So face-off to left of Harebic. 31 seconds left in the period. The Attack win the draw back to Greenberg. Greenberg across. Sikora, his shot blocked by Passmore, gets it again, sends it around to Zarowski on the near side. 18 seconds. Zarowski, his pass deflected. Greenberg will collect it. Across to Sikora, but the puck rolled on him. Back to Greenberg. Greenberg again at the blue line. Up to Zarowski. Zarowski loses the handle of it, and then Hanser got a stick on it. Puck's loose. Baudouin puts it to the corner. Greenberg at the line, takes the shot at the buzzer, but that puck goes wide of the net. And that will do it for the first period of play as the Barrie Colts down by one here at the end of the first period. But what a game back and forth. The Colts, it took them a while to get some shots on net, but right now, shots even at 6 apiece, which I'm a little surprised by with how this game started.
Yeah, it feels like both teams are getting a lot of the opportunities. They're just not putting the pucks on net. We've seen the Colts working it around the zone a couple times. Owen Sound there on that power play. They only got one shot, but they had the puck in the zone for the entire 45 seconds that they had.
One goal scorer so far, and then was given that penalty for taunting or unsportsmanlike when he was skating along the bench. McCormick didn't see it coming, and he was pushed from behind. But other than that, Sikora having a fantastic game here tonight. Now 8 goals on the season. It's just, there's so many weapons up front with this Owen Sound Attack hockey club.
Yeah, he's one of those guys coming into the season that you kind of wondered about, you didn't know much about, but you knew that he could be a solid core. Guys like Harris had really strong starts. Tristan DeLille, that's a guy that leads this team in points right now. So Owen Sound getting a lot of happy surprises here early in the regular season.
And Pierce Bowie, of course, getting an assist on that Sikora goal. So now Pierce Bowie run. So Pierce Bowie continues to get the job done here with the Owen Sound Attack. So it is the first intermission. And before the game, Josh, you had a chance to talk with Cole Emerton. And, you know, we've been seeing Cole develop. I know it's still early in the season, but he's a player that his skating ability is just, he's so smooth. You can just tell that he's going to be a special player as his game develops.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think that the Barrie Colts coaching staff sees that as well, as the trust in Cole Emerton has gone up and up. He's on the first power play unit. And tonight he's even ahead of Evan Passmore on the depth chart, playing with Kayshawn Aitchison. Maybe that's to split up Aitchison and Passmore, get them more split out through their minutes. But yeah, Cole Emerton is giving them the ability to be up after Aitchison and Passmore. He's off to a great start this season, and Aitchison's a guy that's probably moving on after this year. Passmore, you don't know how long he's left with the Barrie Colts. So Cole Emerton could quickly turn into a bit of a leader on this defensive end for the Barrie Colts.
So here's Josh's conversation with Barrie Colts defenseman Cole Emerton.
Cole, first game post-Thanksgiving. How was your Thanksgiving, and how are you feeling coming out of the break?
It was good. It was good to go home, see the family. In saying that, you know, we had a good break, but we're ready to get back going here.
Well, this is your first year in the OHL, just first couple games as well. How's it been being a member of the OHL now?
You know, it's been great. You know, it's a good league. We got a good group of guys here in Barrie. Made the transition pretty easy for me. Good coaching staff too, so yeah.
What's it been like playing with a guy like Kayshawn Aitchison? I know you guys play a lot together. You're on the same pairing as well tonight.
It's great. You know, he's an unreal defenseman. He makes my life pretty easy, puts me in situations to be successful, so yeah.
Now, is there anything about the OHL experience that you didn't expect coming in that now you've witnessed and feel is pretty cool or something like that?
You know, I can't really think of anything. You know, I watched a lot of OHL games growing up, so I kind of knew what to expect almost, you know. Something I guess you could say is a difference is you got to be like a good member of the community. People look up to you.
What's it been like being in Barrie?
It's been great. You know, like I said, we got a great group of guys, and coaching staff's been great. You know, the boys, we hang out a lot outside the rink, so we are a real tight group, and yeah, it's been good.
Now, you guys have been giving up a lot of shots recently. What do you got to do to kind of calm that down here today against Owen Sound?
You know, we're gonna play as a team. We're gonna stick to our systems. We're gonna execute things that we've practiced and take the puck out of Owen Sound's hands and put it into ours.
Now, what have you seen from that Owen Sound team in the first two meetings that maybe helps you guys coming into tonight?
You know, they're fast, they're physical. Like you said, we played them twice in exhibition and twice in regular season, so we know a little bit more to expect tonight. They got a good goalie over there, so we're going to get shots in, bodies in front of them, and yeah.
Now, you mentioned Carter George. What's it like kind of playing a guy like that where you kind of know coming in that George has a lot of great starts against the Barrie Colts, and what do you guys got to do to change that here tonight?
Oh, yeah, he's like I said, we're going to get bodies in front of him, and yeah.
Well, Cole, thanks for doing this, and good luck tonight.
Thank you.
So that is Barrie Colts defenseman Cole Emerton. And I like that confidence there at the end, talking about Carter George, because he is one of the top goaltenders in the Ontario Hockey League. And, you know, even though he may be on the other team's net, you got to have that confidence and swagger. And
he was too worried. Obviously, the Barrie Colts know that Carter George is a very tough task in net, but he also acknowledged, you know, there's other really good goaltenders. And the Barrie Colts have faced last week against the Ottawa 67s. He had a great game, and there's a lot of great goaltenders in the OHL right now. George is just one of many, and score some goals against them if they're going to want to beat the Owen Sound Attack. And I think it also has to do with some confidence in having Ben Arebic in net as well. The Barrie Colts know that they can go goalie for goalie with really any team in the OHL right now.
Well, the first time the Barrie Colts played the Owen Sound Attack, Owen Sound put up 51 shots in that hockey game, and Arebic had to make 50 saves in that shootout loss. So it's going to be an interesting finish here with this game. 1-0 right now in favor of the Owen Sound Attack. And just a reminder, we do have the chat open. So if you would like to have a question, or if you want to just talk about something involved with the Barrie Colts or the Ontario Hockey League, everything is on the table. We can talk about that here during the intermission. But before we get to that, there's one other game right now taking place in the Ontario Hockey League. So take it away.
Yeah, well, the Saginaw Spirit are taking on the Sioux Greyhounds down in Sault Ste. Marie, and that game got underway at the same time. So they're in the first intermission. 1-0 Saginaw after one off a Jacob Cloutier goal, his second of the season. Assist to Zilkin and Jones. Shots on goal, 14-9 for Sault Ste. Marie. Both teams with 2 power plays in the first period, neither team could capitalize.
Not too bad. It is rivalry week with the Ontario Hockey League, so this weekend every team is going to have a home and home with their rivals. For the Barrie Colts, that will be the North Bay Battalion. That game will be on Saturday on Rogers TV back at the Saddleland Arena, and then we'll have the road broadcast here on the channel when we go up to North Bay Memorial Gardens on Sunday afternoon. So we're going to open up the chat here, and for this chat, we're going to start off with Paul, who says, I know that Hemming is playing with an NHL farm team. Could he be sent back, and would he be a boost for the Barrie Colts?
Well, yes, Neil Hemming is able to be sent back. That's part of the OHL CHL, NHL import rules that imports are allowed to go earlier than other players. Canadian players have to wait till their overage season if they're not playing in the NHL, but import players, they can go down to the AHL, and that's what Emil Hemming is doing right now. And yes, he can be sent back. It was seen actually last year with the London Knights. Casper Faltman started his season with the San Jose Barracuda, the Sharks AHL program, and then he eventually returned to London and helped them win a Memorial Cup. And Hemming would definitely be a huge boost to this Barrie Colts team. I mean, he would slot in right on that first line with Paul Baudouin, and that shot of his would be fantastic. That's a guy that you kind of looked at and you figured if he was back in the OHL this year, he was going to have a pretty dominant season. Barrie Colts haven't seen him yet, but I think they're still holding out a bit of hope that he'll return at some point.
Yeah, so Emil Hemming right now with the Texas Stars in the American Hockey League. And my understanding from what I was hearing from one of the scouts at a recent game in Barrie is that he's playing for a job. It's a very veteran-laden team in Texas. So for Emil Hemming, he's got to perform. He's got to show what he's capable of and earn a position on that team. And the indications right now are that there is a good possibility that Hemming will come back to the Barrie Colts. And as Josh, you mentioned, likely when he does come back, or if he comes back, he'll probably be on that left wing on the top line with Cole Baudouin and Joel Salandra. So Scott says, Iman Edgar, how is he able to play as a 15-year-old without exceptional player status? With him turning 16 in a couple of weeks, or are the rules a little more lax?
Well, it's just a late birthday for Eamon Edgar. He does turn 16 this year, so that allows him to play in the OHL this season. And it's the same as Alexander Sementsov, guys like that. It's kind of his 16-year-old season for Edgar. It just means the Barrie Colts will kind of get him for an extra year because he's going to be one draft later than many of his fellow 09s that were just picked in this year's draft.
And we saw that too with Kayshawn Aitchison. He's also a late birthday, so he had his rookie season with the Barrie Colts and then a couple more years before being drafted by the New York Islanders. So Iman Edgar in a similar position there. And for Edgar, he's been quite the surprise with the Barrie Colts coming out of training camp. I know that he was getting a lot of positive attention from the Barrie Colts coaching staff, and he's being rewarded for his efforts. We saw him in the preseason. He kind of reminded me of Bo Jelsma in a way with that energy and just that determination for the puck. And right now, playing on that third line, centering Schneid and Newton, he's also been getting some regular minutes here this evening against the Owen Sound Attack.
Yeah, he's had a solid start to tonight's game. We saw Newton, Edgar, and Schneid. They kind of got the offensive possession started for the Colts at early in the game. It was their first shift that they were kind of circling the puck around back when the Barrie Colts really couldn't find a way to get any shots on net. And they also had another opportunity here, almost a 3-on-2, but they were just a bit offside. And Edgar's a guy maybe motivated. He was a guy that could have made that U17 team that was announced today. He was cut from that. He did attend training camp back in the summer. So maybe a bit of motivation for Eamon Edgar to start getting things rolling here with this Barrie Colts team.
And I think for Eamon Edgar, he's got so much potential, and it's going to be fascinating just to see how his career progresses. And like I said, I think a comparable is Bo Jelsma. He's on the smaller stature size. And I think Edgar, he's going to be a player that's going to be with this Barrie Colts for the years to come.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Marty Williamson compared him to Brian Little. If you're getting Brian Little comparisons in training camp, you were doing something really, really good with this Barrie Colts team. And so I think Edgar's going to break the scoring record that Little has.
Probably not.
Probably not, but If he can get up the Barrie Colts point record totals into maybe the top 10 or something like that, I'm ecstatic with that. And this guy, I mean, you never really know with the new NCAA rules, but he is a Canadian, so maybe you are able to keep him through to his draft season and keep him for probably one more year after that before he go off and play in the NHL if he pans out the way we expect him to.
And we saw about the taunting penalty that was in reference to Sikora. That play there, like, it was a great goal there for the Owen Sound Attack. Pierce Bowie sending up Sikora in front, and it's you want to see you're going past the benches. You got to figure that the coaches kind of get a little aggravated by that because now, yes, you got the goal, but now you're putting your team behind, and obviously Barrie not able to capitalize on that power play, but still not something after the whistle.
Yeah, it's something the Barrie Colts actually saw last year in the playoffs against the Niagara IceDogs. Blake Aerosmith scored a goal, then gave a shove to a Colts player, and he got called on the penalty there. And yeah, McCormick, that shift, I did notice he was laying some hits, maybe getting under the skin of the Owen Sound Attack, and that is kind of the lead up into what Sikora did. Shoved them right into the bench with that open door there. It's always a very dangerous spot on the ice, so the officials not wanting much happening around there, especially after goals just been scored. So they call him on the unsportsmanlike penalty. And yeah, like you said, the Barrie Colts had the power play opportunity, couldn't get it done.
Yeah, and the specialty team numbers right now are fantastic for the Owen Sound Attack. They have the second best power play right now in the OHL, 32%. The eighth best penalty kill at 84.2%. So you can also take it. That was kind of the mentality last year for that London Knights team.
Yeah, so I'm sure some teams were definitely taking notes from the way the London Knights have built their squad the last few years. I mean, if the Knights came in the last year as the #1 team, and I don't think anyone ever debated that they were anything lower than that outside Kitchener Rangers ahead of them at some points last year. I know that got Knights fans pretty rowdy, but yeah, I mean, the Knights were the top team coming into the year. They were the top team at the end of the year, and even in the playoffs, it just felt like every round when we were making predictions on the Rogers broadcast, we're trying to find ourselves giving ways to talk ourselves into even giving some of these teams wins against the London Knights instead of talking ourselves into series wins. I'm sure teams like Barrie and Owen Sound would love to play the type of game that the Knights.
Such a copycat sport. You see it at the National Hockey League level. Florida Panthers winning back-to-back Stanley Cups, and their style is to play aggressive, to be the royal pain for their opponents. And now you're starting to see other teams trying to copy that mentality. The OHL is no different. Look at what the Brantford Bulldogs did, acquiring Ryder Bolton from the London Knights. He was the biggest pest for the Knights, but he got the job done. And for the Bulldogs, the physicality was something they were lacking last year, especially with the response after Nick Lardis. Remember in the playoffs against the Oshawa Generals, went down with an injury and no one really reacted. So the Bulldogs, seeing that London Knights model and thinking, okay, we need to address this. And who better than to pick up Bolton from the London Knights?
You're watching that Nick Lardis hit. It was Andrew Gibson that took him out, and Gibson kind of stands up and goes, okay, who's going to take me on? I know what I just did here, and no one came. And then Gibson got no games in a suspension. Okay, it's going to be a pretty interesting game here. Game number 3 could get feisty, and then no one touched Andrew Gibson all game. It was very weird to see, but yeah, Ryder Bolton, the perfect guy to add when you're looking for physicality, and Ryder Bolton does his job correctly with the response people have online to Ryder Bolton from opposition teams because they hate him. They hate playing against him because he just makes players on the other team mad, which in turn makes fans very upset with Ryder Bolton just with the way he played. I remember last year by the OHL finals and the Memorial Cup, he was playing like 1-2 shifts a night, but he was taking enough gloves and trying to get into physical instance with those other teams.
And it's going to be 2 weeks, I believe, trip to Brantford to see those Bulldogs. So Wednesday night at the TD Civic Center. So it's going to be fascinating just to see how it all shakes out with the Colts and the Bulldogs. Also seeing that Tiras is commenting, don't think your upload capable of camera footage currently, matey. We touched on this earlier, the internet a little suspect here at the Bayshore here this evening. So hopefully we're able to keep a steady stream. I'm looking at the internet bars right now. We seem to be okay. So hopefully we're able to continue that as we're about 2 minutes away from the start of the second period. The Barrie Colts, they will be shorthanded for a minute 14. And yeah, we'll get this second period underway momentarily.
Maybe the issue is that we aren't that good looking, and so
Oh,
they
that could
think
be it.
there's a camera quality issue. And Gene tries to say he's the beauty of the broadcast, so maybe that's just why the beauty of the broadcast isn't here. So I don't know, but looks like we maybe are having a bit of dropped frames, but I mean the focus isn't on us, focus is on the players. So.
Exactly. So the players are coming back on the ice. Want to thank everybody who took part in the chats as we're getting ready for the second period of play here between the Owen Sound Attack and the Barrie Colts. And it's going to be a fascinating finish here as the Attack, they do have that 1-goal lead. Nicholas Sikora getting the lone goal. And for the Barrie Colts, got to find a way to respond despite that great push that they had in the second half of that first period.
Yeah, and it starts with killing off this penalty that went against Calvin Cromie late in the first period. They got a minute 14 here, a power play time for the Attack that the Colts have to kill off, and if you're able to kill it off, go from there. I think the Barrie Colts have a good shot. Ben Arabic to make some big saves because Carter George is going to make a few saves that leave you looking up to the sky, shaking your head, thinking you should have had one there. So I think the mentality against Carter George is that when you look at like the analytics that have become big, if you're expected to score 4 or 5 goals, probably only scoring 2 or 3. So the Colts are going to need some saves out of Ben Arabic because Carter George never really has bad games, it seems, especially against the Barrie Colts.
And 6 shots in a period for Carter George, not a big challenge for the LA Kings prospect, but we'll see what's in store here for the second period as they line up. Cole Baudouin taking the draw here against Tristan DeLille. And on his wing will be Carter Lowe and Justin Hanser. And on the point, Evan Passmore, as we are ready to go for the second period of play. Here we go. Second period underway. Face-off won by the Colts as the puck will go deep into the Barrie zone. Hanser's there to play it. Here's Cole Baudouin. He's going to send this one deep. As the power play now down to just 1 minute here for the Owen Sound Attack. Banks back behind his own net. We'll pass this one ahead. Deck stopped there by Baudouin, but Nancy's able to follow it up, sends it deep. DeLille gives chase back behind the Colts net. DeLille in a battle with Justin Hanser as they take more time off this Attack power play. It's down to 40 seconds. Deck back to Banks. John Banks at the line, sets up Bowie. Bowie loses the handle of it, and Baudouin goes for the clearing attempt, but that goes off Bowie's stick and out of play.
A nice play there by Baudouin, forcing the turnover. A guy that, works so hard. He's good on the penalty kill, good in his own end, and he's kind of brought more scoring to the Barrie Colts this year. He's only played 4 games, but he already has 3 goals, 9 points. We're used to Baudouin being more of a point-per-game guy, that more focused on the defensive side of things, but he's really stepped up on a Barrie Colts team that's going to need scoring this season.
Well, they need Baudouin to be his best, and we're seeing that so far here tonight. As the Colts moving up, here's Asadorian, gets to the blue line. He's turned around by Sikora. Gardner after a shorthanded. That's short-lived as Zarowski comes up with it for the Attack. Sikora inside his own blue line. He'll pass that one ahead. Here's Crawford. Crawford trying to drop back to Ray. Ends up back behind the Colts net. Gardner after it. Sikora takes him into the boards. Ray trying to play it. Power play about to expire here for Crombie as he's ready to come out of the box. Zarowski at the point for Owen Sound, takes the shot, kicked aside by Hrebeck, and the power play has come to an end. Sikora keeping it down low for the Attack. Bang. Aitchison comes up with it. Here's Gardner. He'll send this one forward. Roberts knocks down at center ice. The Attack with possession. Greenberg ahead for Crawford. He'll send this one in. Emerton will chase after it. Cole Emerton comes around his own net. He'll skate this one up to his own blue line. Now passes it ahead. Roberts, though, took it away off the bench. Here's Deck. Deck on the wing. Emerton, though, takes him out of the play. Good work there from the young defenseman. Asadorian gets it out to center. Roberts there to play it for the Attack up to Max DeLille. DeLille chips that one up to Deck. Deck ahead to Nelson. Nelson to the net. Takes the shot. Hrebeck got a piece of it. Puck goes to the far side. Max DeLille with possession. Sends that one ahead to Deck. He's in the boards there, being held up by Emerton. Desiderio flips that one up. Gardner trying to protect it from Max DeLille. Deck back to DeLille. Backhand pass finds Rogers. Takes the shot, deflected. That goes wide of the net. That was Deck getting a piece of it for the Attack. Desiderio, he'll flip this one down the ice. Roberts comes up with it for the Attack. Up to DeLille. DeLille can't hold on to it. Tayshaun Aitchison now inside his own blue line. Colts looking for their first shot of the second period as Cole Baudouin marches through the neutral zone. Baudouin, though, stopped. Loose puck, Desiderio sends that to the far side. His shot's blocked. Deck comes up with it for the attack. Sikora can't catch up to it. Knocked away by Vader, but now Owen Sound will just dump it deep. Rebick playing it there to his defense. Barrie trying to set up behind their own net. Vader being chased by Bowie. He's tripped up. And that's a delayed penalty against the Owen Sound Attack. Armstrong dropping it back. Salandra playing it over to Vader. Back to Salandra. Joe Salandra through the neutral zone. He's bumped by Arnett. Puck goes deep. Bowie will touch it. And we'll get the call. It's going to be for the trip.
Bowie just getting the stick in there. Down behind the net. Not what you want to see. Taking a penalty in your own zone. Vader faked out one way, went the other. Bowie chasing them from behind. Tried to poke the puck. Got skate instead. And Barrie Colts will have their second power play attempt of the night. They had the puck in the zone the first time, but it didn't really feel like they were getting any shots towards the net.
And this Barrie Colts power play brought to you by Frontline Hockey Apparel. You can visit them at frontlinehockeyapparel.com. The attack, get the puck out of the zone. Crawford shorthanded. He'll hit the brakes. Leaves it there for Tristan DeLille. DeLille in the corner. Trying to pass that one in front, surrounded by blue sweaters. Puck goes to the corner. Crawford sends it around. Colts take it away. Brad Gardner now through the neutral zone on the power play. 140 to work with. Gardner back to the line. Here's Cole Emerton. Across to Aitchison, and that's fired over the net. That rebound's going to sail all the way back to the Colts blue line. Emerton's there to pick it up. Emerton ahead, finds Lowe. Around the boards, Aitchison on the near boards. Lets that one go by, but Gardner wasn't there. And now it's Mason Ray after it shorthanded. Ray deep in the Colts zone around the net. Baudouin trying to knock him off stride. Loose puck collected by Barrie. Ray trying to take it away from Gardner. What a shift from Mason Ray. He's going to send this one back to his own blue line, and now the attack dump it in. 1 minute remaining in the power play here for the Colts. Vader comes out of the defensive zone through center, dumps this one in. Around the boards, Desiderio on the far side. Baudouin avoids the hit, gives it up to Schneid. Desiderio side of the net, trying to take the shot, blocked by George. Puck goes behind the goal. Nancy trying to get a stick on it. Baudouin takes it away. Desiderio back to the line to Vader. Vader to Baudouin. Baudouin drops it back to Vader. 30 seconds left in the power play. Aitchison to Vader. Vader waits. Aitchison near side. He'll set this one up. Cross now to Baudouin. Back to Vader. Teague Vader gives this one up to Baudouin. Baudouin takes the shot. George the save. Puck's going to sail the line. Kept in by Aitchison. Down low to Desiderio. Desiderio from the corner comes out towards the net. Takes the shot. George got a piece of it. Baudouin trying to collect that bouncing puck. Now the attack will get it out as Harry Nancy reaches center ice. And that's it for the power play. Barrie now 0 for 2 on the man advantage tonight. Desiderio will send this one deep. George back behind his net to play it. Sends this one around. At the point, the attack get it out. Max DeLille passing this one forward. Passmore back after it. Behind the Colts net it goes. DeLille trying to play it. Hanser finds it. Backhand pass up to Crombie. Calvin Crombie peeling back in his own zone. Avoids Sorowski. Gets by Deck. Now he'll send it deep. Crombie back behind the Owen Sound net. Puts it in front quickly. Gets it again. Backhand. That's blocked. Crombie into the middle for Newton. Newton sets up. Hanser over to Crombie, but he had Banks in the way. Crombie to Newton. Newton can't hold on to that. The attack will get it out. Zorowski ahead for DeLille. DeLille stopped by Hanser. That's going to be an offside call against the Owen Sound Attack.
Get a rough stuff after the play now. Passmore and Zorowski getting into it. What a shift, though, there by Calvin Crombie. Gets his hands on the puck, and off he went, gangling through a couple players. Then he tried to chip and chase. He got through the defenders again to catch up. Got in down low, centered it out front a couple times for the Colts there. Some good opportunities for Barrie again. Crombie, Newton, and Edgar. A bit of a different line coming off the power play there, but they were close a couple times.
Yeah, some great chances there as Barrie Colts trying to get back into this hockey game right now, down 1-0. And it is the TV timeout. Right now, just want to thank our sponsors who bring you this broadcast, Frontline Hockey Apparel. You can find them at frontlinehockeyapparel.com. And so without sponsors, we wouldn't be able to do this broadcast. So if you would like to also become a sponsor of this broadcast, you can always send an email to fromtheboothwithmike@gmail.com. Gmail.com.
Please sponsor us.
It would be nice. But it's all good as we're able to bring these road broadcasts to you over the live stream here. I know our internet's been a little shaky a bit here, but looking at the numbers, we seem to be okay. Maybe it's just our video, as we had one person point out in the chat. Face-off won by the Colts, but Asadorian broke his stick in the process. Puck goes deep, and that's going to be an icing call against the Attack. Looked like Crombie was close to beating it out.
Yeah, it looked like Crombie disagreed as well, but similar to earlier when Owen Sound didn't like it, it's going to come all the way down no matter what. Crombie was able to get there. It looked like the Barrie Colts may have had a couple of guys sneaking in past the defense, and Gardner and Asadorian may have had an opportunity, but it doesn't matter as icing was called.
So we're bringing this all the way back to the right of Ben Horevic. Tristan DeLille taking the draw up against Cole Baudouin. Or actually make that Brad Gardner. So we're going to do this face-off over again. Gardner gets right back in. Face-off won by the Attack. Here's Arnett at the point. Arnett, a shot blocked by Gardner. Puck goes behind the Colts net. Gardner will retrieve it. Quick pass. Here's Asadorian from his own blue line. Chips it ahead. Bedkowski was in the way. Bedkowski up to Bowie. Pierce Bowie on the wing. Takes the shot. Stopped by Horevic. Rebound picked up by Passmore. He'll send that one forward. Tristan DeLille takes it away from Hanser. Back behind the Colts net it goes. Sikora to Bowie. Bowie gets by Gardner. Here's DeLille now in the corner. In front, but Sikora couldn't get there in time. Nicholas Sikora already one goal tonight on the far blue line. We'll pass this one down low. Bowie can't control that pass. Passmore sends it around. Arnett at the line. Keeps it in across to Bedkowski. Bedkowski. Up ahead, Sikora. Around the boards it goes. DeLille on the far side. Getting a stick on it there was Hanser. DeLille comes off the boards. Takes the shot. Stopped by Horevic. Sikora gets the rebound. Takes the shot. Blocked by Passmore. Gardner after the loose puck. Bedkowski keeps that one deep. Good pressure here for the Attack. DeLille with it again here for Owen Sound. His pass deflected. That goes over the net. Near side, Arnett keeps this one in play for Owen Sound. Colts, however, get to the line, and that one stays in. Sikora takes that one to the net. It's wide. Arnett in the corner. Bowie got a stick on it, and now the puck is out at center ice, but the door was open on the Attack bench. And we're going to get a whistle here as that puck left the play.
Well, that top line of Bowie, Sikora, and Tristan DeLille taking advantage of the icing call, eh? Went to work there for a good few minutes. Gardner, Asadorian, and Crombie weren't able to get the puck out of the zone at all. There's some great opportunities for Owen Sound, but couldn't capitalize.
Yeah, some great pressure there by the Owen Sound Attack. It remains a 1-0 hockey game as the Colts send this deep into the Owen Sound zone. Roberts was sent it around. Rogers to Nancy. Colts trying to keep it in. They will momentarily. Now it's knocked out by the Attack. Puck's at the Owen Sound blue line. Near side now. Ray is going to chip this one deep. Crawford gives chase back behind the Barrie net. In front to Ray, but that's blocked. Armstrong will give it up. Here's Baudouin now. Through the neutral zone. Baudouin stood up there by Roberts. Puck sent deep. Gorge out of his net to play. Armstrong at the blue line. Keeps it in. Takes the shot. That's blocked by Rogers. Rogers is tied up by Desiderio. Had his pocket picked, but his teammate able to bail him out. And the Attack send it down the ice. And now it's an icing call against Owen Sound.
Nice play there by Desiderio. Looked like Rogers was going to be able to get it out, and Desiderio strips it from him. Nearly created an opportunity, but instead the opportunity, Owen Sound kind of got hemmed in there for a moment, had to just clear it for the icing, and maybe now, even though Desiderio's off the ice, it still works out for the Barrie Colts.
Yeah, big face-off to the right of Carter George. And he dropped the puck. They're going to do this one again as it wasn't done cleanly. So Jake Crawford will take the draw here against Jaden Newton. Face-off won by the Colts, but Mason Ray will get to that loose puck first. Ray chips that one into the zone. And it's another icing call here. Mason Ray is in disbelief. It looked like he got it past the red line, but they're going to bring this face-off back, and Owen Sound still can't make a line change.
Seems like icings have been a bit of a discussion tonight from the benches, and Scott Ray not happy again. I've noticed from my 2 times here, when Scott Ray's not happy with the officials, he kind of makes it known to them.
Well, Scott Ray spent time with the North Bay Battalion. He was an assistant coach up there under Ryan Houlihan, and now getting a great opportunity here with the Owen Sound Attack. As the Colts fire that one, that's wide of the net. Puck's going to sail back into the neutral zone. Ray sends it deep. Schneid will come back after it for the Colts. Nancy's on the forecheck. Colts have to regroup quickly. Cole Emerton with possession. He'll skate this one ahead. Reaches center ice. That's deflected. Ends up in the near corner in the Owen Sound zone. Greenberg back of his net to play it. Sends this one ahead. Louis drops it back to Banks. Banks through the middle. Takes the shot. Stopped by Horebic. Rebound collected by Greenberg. Puts it behind the Colts net. And the Colts will pick it up. Here's Edgar through the middle. That pass deflected by Greenberg. Louis sends it out to center. Colts with possession. Edgar has to be careful here. Colts are making a line change. Almost too many men on the ice there for the Barrie Colts. Owen Sound wanted a penalty, but wasn't called. Bowie chips that one over to Mikas. Mikas carries this one in, takes the shot, blocked by Hanser. That went off his ankle. Puck goes to the corner. Carter Lowe collecting it now for the Colts. Hanser receives the pass, sends this one ahead to Lowe through the neutral zone. Lowe dropping it there for McCormick. McCormick still with it, takes the shot, stopped by George, and he'll cover it up. As George a little frustrated, as you've got Govro mixing it up now, and I think we might be getting a penalty out of this.
Well, it was a bit weird. I mean, it didn't look like any of the attack players really realized that Luke Govro was going at it with their goaltender, but it looked like they were maybe just going to let George take him on himself, but eventually they did get in there. Pretty tight as well at the Colt bench there to too many men. Saw a pass more coming out as Emerton was also trying to get off, and it was pretty close in timing. Don't know if there was 6 on the ice, but the official said there was 5, so you can take their word for it.
So out of that, no penalty. They were just sending Govro away. Go. Just with the referee, with how forceful he was with that direction, I thought he was sending him to the penalty box. So we'll get the face-off now to the left of Carter George. Acidorian here to take the draw against Tristan DeLille. Face-off won by the Attack. Arnett in his own zone puts that one over the glass and out of play. That's going to be a delay of game penalty. So the Barrie Colts, they're going to go on the power play here.
Not what you want to see if you're the Owen Sound Attack. They're able to win the draw, and then Arnett gets to the puck. No pressure around him either, and he just flips this one out of play. I mean, normally with the delay of game, you may see maybe a player from the opposing team charging on you. There's no one around him, and he somehow sent it out of play there.
So this Barrie Colts power play brought to you by Frontline Hockey Apparel. You can visit them at frontlinehockeyapparel.com. This is the 3rd power play of the hockey game for the Barrie Colts. Right now 0 for 2 so far tonight. Emerton has it at the line. Kayshawn Aitchison now from the half boards. Back across, finds Baudouin. Baudouin, down low to Gardner. Emerton at the line. Back to Aitchison. Kayshawn Aitchison, down low to Lowe. Carter Lowe trying to jam that one in. George has the pad down, but Colts forward can't get it any further as George is going to hold on.
Cooler heads are going to prevail. Some more rough stuff out in front. Bedkowski kind of just grabbed Lowe from behind, brought him down with him. I'm sure that Dylan Smoskowitz is probably hoping for a few more shots here on this power play for the Barrie Colts. You're 0 for 2 right now, and I'm sure he wants them to get things going. Shots are only 12-11. Not a lot of shots in this game in general, but here's an opportunity for the Barrie Colts to start firing away on Carter George. Take advantage of a big mistake by the Owen Sound Attack.
So we'll get the face-off now to the left of George. Gardner taking the draw against the attack. Bedkowski back behind his own net. He'll send this one down the length of the ice as the Colts have to regroup with a minute 28 still to go in this power play. Emerton gets out of the zone, dropping it back to Beaudoin. Beaudoin to Gardner. Ahead for Aitchison. Backhand pass deflected wide by Beaudoin. Low.
For that, we saw Aitchison coming down low, passing it across, looking for a tap in from Beaudoin, but just missed him.
So we'll do this face-off again to the left of Carter George. Won by the Colts. Back to the line. Aitchison sets up Salandra. Down low, does it area one-timer, but Crombie can't connect. Puck's at the blue line, kept in momentarily, and it bounces out. Now it's Nancy on a short-handed break. Harry Nancy, shot, scores! Short-handed. So Harry Nancy puts the Owen Sound Attack up by 2.
Well, definitely not what the Barrie Colts wanted there. Don't really know what happened at the point. Aitchison accidentally batting it back the other way, and then Nancy, who was already coming to try and defend him, is off to the races, gets past him, and able to flip it over Horevic's glove. Kind of faked like he was going to go to the backhand, but keeps it on the forehand, flips it over top, and all of a sudden we talk about the Barrie Colts having an opportunity to capitalize on an Owen Sound mistake, but it's Owen Sound capitalizing on a Barrie mistake with a short-handed goal to make it 2-0.
So for Harry Nancy, that's now 3 goals on the season. As the power play down to 22 seconds and the attack not done. Short-handed deck in the corner there, puts behind the Colts net. Desiderio had to Salandra. Joe Salandra through the neutral zone. He'll carry this one in for the Colts. Puck got away from him as Roberts knocked it free. Crombie across to Desiderio. Puck bouncing. We'll send this one forward, but that doesn't go too far as Micus was skated up now for the attack. The power play has come to an end as the attack get the puck deep. DeLille back to Zarowski. Puck rolled on him. Colts recover. Desiderio ahead to Crombie. Crombie enters the attacking zone. He'll take the shot. Stopped by George. Puck goes behind the net. Picked up here by Greenberg. Greenberg will skate this one forward for the attack. McCormick trying to lay the hit, but misses. Horevic ahead for Newton. Jaden Newton trying to get it out of the zone. Surrounded by white sweaters. Nelson gets to the corner, taken away by Edgar. Here's Passmore. Across, finds Aitchison. Trying to go up the middle. Can't connect on that pass attempt. Icing, though, waved off. George quickly plays it. The attack, get it out. Off the bench is Armstrong. Played it to an open wing. Zarowski's there. Drops it back to Nelson. Nelson to Banks. Banks up the middle. Nice little move there. Puck's knocked away. There's a shot. It goes wide of the net. Puck's going to come back to the neutral zone where it's collected by Greenberg. Nelson sends this one deep around the boards. The bump there. Colts trying to get it out. Jaden Newton now. Nelson takes the shot, blocked by Aitchison. Armstrong, he'll come up with it now for the Barrie Colts. Here's Aitchison. Keyshawn Aitchison up to Edgar. Edgar to Aitchison. Puck's bouncing. Aitchison to the nets, and George had to slide across. Puck's still loose, and the attack will get it out. Tristan DeLille carrying this one in for Owen Sound. Across, trying to catch up with Rogers. Rogers sends it back behind the net. Armstrong playing it to McCormick. McCormick up the middle, picked up by Bowie. Here's Rogers, stopped by Horevic. Aitchison able to get this one out. Just over 6 minutes remaining now in the second period. 2-0 Owen Sound. Armstrong, long pass, finds Salandra. Salandra inside the attack blue line. Nice little move, stays with it. His shot blocked, loose puck. Another chance, and that goes wide. Salandra gets it in the corner. He's taken down. Roberts is there to play it. Rogers will collect the loose puck. Long pass. Sikora got a stick on it. And that's going to be deflected out of play with 5:39 to go. Man, what a rush of action going end to end.
Yeah, it felt like Owen Sound was maybe starting to swing the momentum heavily in their favor, but Barrie with a couple of responses there to get things going as we finally now get the buzzer. Didn't know if we were going to go to break there or not, but both teams heading off. We're doing an ice cream giveaway, Mike.
Oh, could use some ice cream right now.
Where do we sign up for this?
Well, in the first intermission, they were shooting brisket on the ice.
I was thinking of heading down, to be honest.
I don't think I've ever seen frozen brisket used as a puck before, but
Well, it seems to be their first intermission thing. I saw it last time we were here, and the guy got a bit too greedy. He had the half brisket, went for the whole brisket, and then he ended up with no brisket.
Now, we do have some time to chat. Owen Sound is known for having the best French fries. So it was Josh McCann's mission today to try these French fries. And what is your back to the point? Arnett takes the shot, scores. That went off an attack player in the crease. I believe it was Mason Ray. And it's now 3-0. We'll have to see if the Colts are going to take a look at this for possibly goaltender interference.
Ray and like Panzer was maybe pushing him into Ben Rebick. We'll have to see on the replay if there's any interference or any kicking motion. Puck goes back to the point. Shot comes in, and Ray standing there in the crease, and officials still at the timekeeper's box right now. But all's good.
Well, they're going to give a thumbs up. So it's a good goal. So Mason Ray, who's had a solid game here tonight for the Attack, now 4 goals on the season. And it's now 3-0 for Owen Sound. This Attack team is just rolling along here with 5 minutes remaining here in the second period. Schneid will send this into the zone, trying to get up to the loose puck. Schneid takes the shot, stopped by George. And now, actually, I think we're getting a penalty here. It's going to be for a hook. So the Barrie Colts, they're going to get a power play here.
Yeah, it's going to be John Banks going to the box there, trying to catch up to Schneid, who was able to get in behind the D. But the Barrie Colts, they need to get this power play going. Shorthanded goal in the last power play attempt. Mason Ray is at a really strong game, like you mentioned. I mean, he scores the goal there. But before that, a ton of pressure on the penalty kill, really. He's had a really strong game defensively, and they'll look to do that again here.
So this is the 4th power play of the hockey game for the Barrie Colts. This power play brought to you by Frontline Hockey Apparel. You can find them at frontlinehockeyapparel.com. As the Colts getting some last-minute instructions here before the faceoff comes to the left of Carter George. The Attack win the draw. Puck rolls in front of the Attack net. Crombie dropping it back to Schneid at the blue line. Vader up to Salandra. Joe Salandra at the blue line. Passing this one ahead to Schneid. Schneid, the shot. That goes off Roberts. Salandra now from the half boards. Toe drag. Huge shot off the shoulder of George, and that's going to sail all the way back to the Colts blue line. Teague Vader there to collect it now for the Colts. Vader moving this one ahead. 1:27 still to work with on the power play for the Barrie Colts. Salandra ahead for Crombie. Crombie giving up to Desiderio. That's out of the reach of Crombie. Salandra trying to go back to Crombie. And it's just going to be cleared down the ice. Good work there by Braden Rogers. 1:09 left to go now in this man advantage. Colts not getting too much pressure here on this power play so far. As Crombie has it at his own blue line, gives it up to Gardner. Ahead for Lowe. Lowe hits the brakes. Dropping this one back. Emerton finds Crombie. Emerton at the line. Takes the shot. That one off a leg. Carter Lowe behind the net. He'll continue this one around the boards. Crombie trying to keep it in. He will. Puck comes to the near side. Carter Lowe in front. Blocked there by Arnett. Gardner trying to corral that bouncing puck. He's taken into the boards by Arnett. On the boards. Colts with it. Back to Emerton at the line. Cross to Aitchison. One-timer. Puts that one wide. Crombie at the point to Emerton. Emerton with a shot deflected. Good work by Lowe, but ends up putting it wide of the net. Gardner quickly to Aitchison. 15 seconds left in the power play. Baudouin, Gardner, across. That pass deflected, and that's going to escape the zone. 5 seconds left in the power play. Colts within their own zone. Cole Emerton at center ice. He'll dump this one in, and that'll do it for the man advantage. Barrie now 0 for 4. Colts have it down low. It's Cole Baudouin from the corner. Baudouin takes the shot, stopped by George. Tristan DeLille gets to the rebound, sends it down the ice, and that's going to be an icing call. Zarowski nearly beat out that icing as Cole Emerton, I think he was pretty exhausted at the end of that shift.
Yeah, he was out there for a while, and Colts just again didn't seem like they had too much going. They were able to keep it in the zone. They got a few chances. Aitchison had that one timer, but outside of that, it just didn't feel like the Barrie Colts were creating opportunities on the Owen Sound Attack there.
So 2:39 remaining in this second period. 3-0 for the Owen Sound Attack. Colts win the draw. Hanser has it deep in the Owen Sound zone. Hanser back to Edgar. He can't hold on to it. Zarowski, the line. That's knocked out for the attack, so Armstrong has to come back to pick it up. Hanser ahead for Edgar. He's going to send that one deep. Acidorian gives chase. Picks that one up in the corner. In front, deflected. Hanser with a shot. That's wide side of the net. Acidorian stopped by George. Hanser's shot stopped again by George. Newton can't get a stick on it. Puck rolls to the point, and the attack will get it out. Deck ahead for Zarowski. Edgar chips that one forward. Deck moves that one forward. Zarowski in the corner. Under 2 minutes remaining now in the second period. As the Colts will move this one out. Edgar ahead. Deflected, so no icing. Acidorian giving chase. Banks gets to it first. John Banks gives that one up to Deck. Deck will put that one around his own net. The attack with possession. Banks gives it up to Greenberg. Greenberg over to Banks. Banks to Crawford. Nancy, he'll get this one out of his zone. Pucks at center ice for Owen Sound. Deflected. Nancy with it. Takes the shot. Blocked in front by Passmore. The attack trying to get this one back. Puck's in the corner. Baudouin digs it free. Sends this one out and down the ice. Puck's rolling to the line. Icing waved off. As it slowed up right before the line. Greenberg's there to play it. Crawford has that one taken away. Attack, get it out to center ice. Vader will dump this one in. Delayed offside against the Colts. 53 seconds left in the period. Puck's bouncing at the Colts blue line. Ray follows it up. Taken away by Gardner. Gardner will get it out to center. Ray sends this one deep. Bravick back behind his own net. Well played around the boards. Attack putting on more pressure here. Puck goes back behind the Colts net. Aitchison ahead. Rogers can't keep it in. Acidorian gives chase, but had a stick lifted by Rogers. Attack with possession. Roberts backtracking. That pass deflected. And that's going to go down the length of the ice. And an icing call with 20 seconds remaining.
We're looking at the shot clock right now. The Barrie Colts out shooting Owen Sound 19-15, but down 3-0 on the scoreboard. And one thing I've liked about the Barrie Colts right now, I mean, you allow 2 quick goals there, including a shorthanded one, and maybe down in the dumps, but hasn't seemed like it's phased the Colts. They're still looking for those opportunities and haven't really gone into panic mode just yet.
So face off to the right of George, won by the Colts. Aitchison at the point. That doesn't go too far. Baudouin will find it in the corner. Drops it there for Gardner. Back to Aitchison. Here's Emerton. Emerton takes the shot wide to the net side of the goal. Try to put it in front, but that's taken away by the attack. Kept in by Emerton. Takes the shot. Stop. Rebound. George makes the save at the buzzer as the Colts continue to get pucks to the net. And now some frustrations as Calvin Crombie and Braden Rogers meeting up at the side of the net. But cooler heads will prevail as it's been a bit of a frustrating night so far for the Barrie Colts. They're out shooting the attack, as you mentioned, but right now down by 3.
Yeah, I don't think Barrie Colts definitely not in a position they wanted to be in. It's been a solid. The way they've played has been solid, but they haven't been able to beat Carter George. That seems like the story of every time the Barrie Colts play the Owen Sound Attack, but yeah, a bit of frustration there at the end. Calvin Crombie getting the stick in there, trying to jab a rebound out of Carter George, not able to do it. But yeah, the Barrie Colts find themselves in a big hole right now that they're going to have to try and find a way out of.
So I understand the stream has been having some issues, especially with when we use the camera. So I'm thinking we won't use the camera for now so we can continue the stream. The internet's been a little iffy all evening, but it is a 3-0 score in favor of the Owen Sound Attack here at the second intermission. And we're going to take a break, and we're going to listen in on the OHL news with Terry Doyle.
everyone, I'm Terry Doyle. Thanks for joining us on this week's edition of OHL News. Coming up on the show, we'll talk to one of the new owners and governor of the Sarnia Sting Hockey Club. He's someone who has been around the hockey industry for many years, but now running the show in Sarnia. But first, this week's Cogeco OHL Player of the Week is Kayshawn Aitchison of the Barrie Colts. He picked up 5 goals and an assist for 6 points in 3 games last week. That, of course, comes from the blue line. He began the week with his first goal of the season last Thursday in a shootout loss against the Sioux Greyhounds, but then followed it up with 2 goals and an assist as the Colts beat the Oshawa Generals on home ice 5-3 last Saturday. And why not close out the weekend with another 2-goal performance last Sunday as the Barrie Colts knocked off the Niagara IceDogs 6-5 in a shootout. The defenseman, who hails from Toronto, was chosen in the first round by the New York Islanders in last summer's 2025 NHL entry draft. Meantime, someone who has seen many players come through the Ontario Hockey League get drafted and move on to the pro ranks is Mark Guy. He was formerly an agent, but now is one of the owners and the governor of the Sarnia Sting. We recently chatted about how things came together to officially join the Sting. Take me through how this situation came about where you, Ryan Finch, and David Lagwan are now the ownership group of the Sarnia Sting. I admit I kind of heard this idea floated around probably for, let's be honest, a little while.
Yeah.
But take me through now that it's done. How did this all come about?
Well, it actually is something that started probably about 5 or 6 years ago when Braden was playing here. I got reconnected with Dave Lagwan, who was a client of Newport Sports when I worked at Newport. And Darien at the time, and just threw around the idea then that if they were ever looking for a sale or some ownership changes, that we would be interested in chatting with them at that time. I had just left the hockey business and was working in the car business with a good friend of mine, Ryan Finch, who's obviously our partner here now. And Ryan and I had talked about it for years, that it would be great at some point in time to, if we were in a community that had an opportunity to do this, that we'd look at doing it. So 3.5 years ago, we moved to Sarnia and took over the dealership here in Sarnia, Finch Ford Lincoln. Had an opportunity to kind of rekindle things again with David at that time, and he was looking at potentially doing something then, but we weren't quite ready. We wanted to make sure we had our footprint established here in Sarnia. And over the past year, it really started to heat up, and Dave was looking to take a step back, maybe kind of move out of the majority ownership side of things, and Ryan and I were really interested and excited about joining him. So we started the process last September and finished it around January, February, and then had some other things to go through just to kind of get it across the finish line, but we're thrilled, excited to be here.
Fair to say, and without getting too much into the weeds, this isn't a process that can happen overnight. Obviously, there's a business transaction. The league, there's league approvals to go through. I know the league goes through their due diligence. No matter how much they think they know about someone, they still go through their due diligence on anyone joining the ownership of the Ontario Hockey League as well. So I'm sure there were, as you said, a lot of things to go through.
Yeah, there's the first part is obviously coming to an agreement with the existing owners. So for Dave and Ryan and I to come to an agreement, then you go through the legal side of things and going through all the contracts and that part of it. Then once you get to that stage and everything's approved, then the league, or agreed to from our end, then the league gets involved and they do their due diligence and do their background checks, make sure that everything's in order that way. And then also in this situation, because the arena is owned by the city's involved as well and has some agreements that are 3-party agreements, so we had to make sure we had city approval as well.
If I told you 15, 20 years ago, as you're working as an agent in the hockey business, that at one point, you're around the rink in Sarnia, if you got clients like a Steven Stamkos, one day you're going to be part of the ownership. You've said, interesting, but wait a minute, did you have an idea that, that was something you want to do at some point?
It's always been something I've thought about. The agency business for me was fantastic. I worked with a great group and had a lot of great clients. But being on the team side and the ownership side was always something that was in the back of my head. So I didn't know that it would ever happen or I would ever get the opportunity to do it, but I certainly was interested in it right from day one.
Is it one of those things too, you grew up playing, you played in the OHL, and that where now being on the team side kind of gets the competitive juices back out a little bit more, where, in the hockey business as an agent, obviously you kind of live through the players, you're celebrated if a player wins the Stanley Cup, you're so happy for them, and so you've helped them on the journey, but now being on that team side, get the competitive juices flowing a bit more too?
It does, yeah, and it's like being back in the locker room again, right, and having a chance to to be around the players and the coaching staff and the scouting side of it, and actually building towards trying to build a championship team. That's certainly the competitive side of it. That's great. There's a different competitive side on the agency side or on the hockey side of it, where it's trying to find the best players and helping them develop to get to the next level. But building for a championship is really what kind of drives everybody.
The attractiveness of the Sarnia Sting, I've got to think, familiarity with the organization, with Braden playing here, and then obviously seeing what was been done around here the last few years, through Darian Hatcher, David Langwin, scoreboard, ribbon board, the new dressing room. I've got to think that made it even more attractive.
Yeah, as you said, I've been familiar with the team right back from the very first days, because I was coming into the league and watching players play here when Rob and Dino Cicerelli and Larry owned the team. So I knew the area. But once we moved here and Braden was playing here, and we really got an understanding for what the community was like. The facilities are fantastic. The organization has done some really good things. The new scoreboard, the ring around for the advertising. But most importantly, the fan base. And we felt, Ryan and I both felt, that if we could help build a winner here, it would just be amazing for this community, and that's really what we wanted to do.
Is it fair to say that if the same opportunity came up somewhere else in the province with another team, probably wouldn't have been an ideal situation because of the geography? Obviously, the Finch group with sort of London to Sarnia, yourself, Braden, living in this area, knowing this area, obviously, hanging out in Grand Bend a lot over the years as well. Is it one of those where if this was some other city, probably wouldn't have been a good fit?
Yeah, absolutely. We weren't looking to buy a team anywhere else. This was where we wanted to buy the team. With Finch Ford Lincoln being right here, with Ryan's proximity, as you mentioned, in London, and he has a place in Grand Bend. He's familiar with the area. We just knew this market and felt that it was the right one for us to be involved in.
But I heard you guys did say that even back when you were going to school together, that the idea of owning a hockey team was certainly something very appealing.
Well, I joke with a lot of people that when Ryan and I first started talking about this again, we had talked about it through school when we were in business school together, but when we started talking about it again, I was trying to convince him then to get into the hockey business, and he was trying to convince me to leave the hockey business and get into the car business with him. He's a much better salesperson than me, so he was able to succeed, and ultimately, though, I was able to wear him down and get to this point.
That was Mark Guy, co-owner and governor of the Sarnia Sting. Here's a look at this week's CHL Top 10 rankings presented by Delta Hotels by Marriott. Blainville Boisbriand of the Quebec Maritimes Junior Hockey League leads the way nationally. The Windsor Spitfires are the top OHL representative at number 2, the Brantford Bulldogs at 3, and the Kitchener Rangers at 5. That's going to do it for our show this week. You have been listening to OHL News. I'm Terry Doyle. Thanks for joining us.
So welcome back to the Bayshore Community Center as we're in the second intermission between the Barrie Colts and the Owen Sound Attack. It's a 3-0 score in favor of the home side, and with the internet being a little iffy here tonight, we're just going to keep the camera off, but we do have the chat open as if you want to jump in and join the conversation to talk about tonight's game, talk about the Barrie Colts, or anything else OHL related. You can put your comment down below. And I know the Blue Jays are playing tonight, so some attentions are going a little elsewhere, but I understand the Blue Jays having a bit of a tough time. So how about we do an out-of-town scoreboard here and talk about the other game in the OHL, and if we want, I guess we could talk about the Blue Jays.
Let's not talk about the Blue Jays. Anyway, the Sioux Greyhounds are up 3-2 on the Saginaw Spirit. Saginaw came out with 2 goals to start that one out, and then the Sioux have responded with 3 straight goals. Sharon, Brown, and Mignosa with the goals there. 3-2 Sault Ste. Marie after 2 shots on goal, 27-18 for the Sioux. And talking about that Greyhounds team, they're off to a great start. They're still waiting on getting Brady Martin back, but that's a team kind of like Owen Sound where they've had some happy surprises. Landon Miller's been pretty solid in net, and then Jordan Sharon, a guy that didn't score much last year, but now it seems like all he does is score.
Oh, he's been lighting it up. So, Sharon, he's been so much fun to watch for the Sioux Greyhounds. And just imagine what that team's going to be capable of doing if they do get Brady Martin back from the Nashville Predators. He was a healthy scratch again last night when the Predators were in Toronto. And I think all signs are pointing that eventually he will return to the Ontario Hockey League. But you got to wonder, when these players start coming back, when do we start seeing movement with trades? Because if the Sioux Greyhounds get Martin back, they've had the success on the ice. are they going to be a team that's suddenly going to want to try and buy and keep pace with the Windsor Spitfires and the Kitchener Rangers and Owen Sound Attack?
Well, exactly. I mean, it kind of feels like they're maybe a step below those teams right now, but they're kind of right with them without their best players. So if the Sioux's able to go out and find another guy, maybe they have interest in, I don't know if they'd go after a Beckett Seneca level player, but they could because they had 2 first-round picks this past season. So they got a lot of young talent there that they can move off if they want to go all in on a guy like Seneca or Danford. I think those are the most interesting guys right now. Seneca looks like he's going to stick in Anaheim for a while, but Ben Danford's back in Oshawa right now, and I don't think he'll be there much longer.
Yeah, but just seeing what Danford brings to that team, I know it was just a 3-game sample size last week when Oshawa was doing their road trip through the West Division, but that team looks very different, especially on the back end. They won in Windsor in overtime, which is going to be hard to do this season, but it was a Generals team that somehow found a way. Although, asterisk, Liam Greentree not in the lineup due to a suspension, but still, Oshawa getting that win on the road does say a lot what Danford brings to that blue line.
Yeah, and if you're an Oshawa supporter, you can counter Greentree being out with, well, we had Becca Seneca out, so we had our top player out, you had your top player out. Plus, your depth has been very good this year. Windsor was winning games without Liam Greentree earlier in this year, so I still think that's a pretty impressive victory for the Oshawa Generals. Funny thing when Danford returned is at the same time, Zachary Sandu, the overage defenseman for the Oshawa Generals, got suspended. So when the Oshawa Generals added their captain back to the lineup, their defense actually got younger in age somehow, which was pretty funny to see. But yeah, the Oshawa Generals played a solid on their road trip there, of course, capitalizing on the overtime win against the Windsor Spitfires, down at the bottom in the Eastern Conference right now, and they're expected to make some moves to move off some guys, but if they can rack up some wins here in the early going, maybe they're in a scenario where even if they sell off, they can still sneak in as an 8 seed.
Yeah, and Beckett Seneca has looked quite comfortable playing with the Anaheim Ducks. He scored his first career NHL goal already, and it's
took him like 3 minutes.
It didn't take Beckett Seneca long, and it just goes to show how talented he is. And we saw that too when the Generals made it to the OHL final that first time around 2 years ago. He wasn't in the lineup, and you could tell that was a different Oshawa team. They ended up being swept by the London Knights. But then last year, Beckett Seneca comes back. He's playing in that series, and it was a whole other dynamic. So Beckett Seneca, if and when he comes back to the Ontario Hockey League, there's going to be teams lining up to the Oshawa Generals to try and acquire his services. You look at the likes of the Brantford Bulldogs. They have so much draft capital. That's a team to watch out for. Windsor's probably going to go all in. We're waiting to find out about the Memorial Cup, who's going to get it next year, and I think that's going to then decide how the Kitchener Rangers address this season.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the Guelph Storm are in a situation right now where they're near the bottom of the Western Conference. They're not in a situation where they're waiting on the Memorial Cup to decide to go all in or not. They're probably not a team that's going all in this year. They'd be waiting for next year in the first place anyway. But Kitchener's a team with how surprising they were last year, despite trading a guy like Carson Rakoff, where they're in a scenario where they may go 2 straight years contending at the top of the West, but not doing too much at the deadline. Now, obviously, they can use their picks for this season to maybe go in a bit and try and improve that roster, as that's a Kitchener team that was able to make the Western Conference Finals last year. I'm sure the Windsor Spitfires will be looking for revenge after going up 3-0 in that series, and then basically the entire team got either sick or injured, and they ended up losing that series to Kitchener. So I'm sure revenge on the Windsor Spitfires' mind when it comes to the Kitchener Rangers. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the deadline unfolds, and maybe teams like Owen Sound and Windsor able to go even further in because there's more players available for them because a top team like Kitchener isn't buying as much.
So let's take a look at the chat on the live stream. I want to thank those who've been taking part in the chat here tonight. I know that a lot of people paying attention to the Blue Jays game, and it's now 2-2 between Toronto and Seattle. So,
leave it to the playoffs. I think Andreas Jimenez just hit a home run.
Beautiful. So looking at the chat, Tira says, let's win this like we did with the IceDogs. And yeah, last weekend, the Colts looked like they were down and out in that game in Niagara. It was 5-1 for the IceDogs after Robrick scored early in the third. And then, the Colts just came back and they won that one 6-5 in a shootout. So we know that this Colts team is capable, but this Owen Sound Attack team might be a little different than that Niagara team.
Yeah, no doubt. Owen Sounds had a great start to the year, and also Carter George and net. I mean, it's hard enough to get 3 goals off Carter George in general. Now the Colts need to get 3 in one period, but the Colts have played decent tonight, I'd say is the word I'd use. I mean, it hasn't been anything special, but they've been kind of even with the Owen Sound Attack tonight. If it wasn't for a 5-minute stretch there where they allow that short-handed goal, followed up by another goal, maybe it's a different game entirely. So if the Colts want to get things going, they're going to need another good third period here. They're probably going to need a bounce or two to go their way as well.
Now, Paul says, would it be great to get Danford in Barrie? And I think with the Colts, with the defense right now, it has to be considered one of the top defensive units in the OHL. And if you were to add a guy like Danford, I think a lot of teams would be a little jealous about what the Colts would have at that point. And then it's trying to navigate the ice time. When you fit in a guy like Danford, I guess your top pairing could be Aitchison and Danford, and then you drop Passmore down with Gabriel Eliasson. But I know Colt fans want to dream and hope that maybe something like that happens. But it's going to be a bidding war for both those players, the Oshawa Generals.
Yeah, I don't want to be the one to break the bad news, but I'm very much in doubt that Ben Danford will unfortunately never be in a Barrie Colts jersey. It'd be a great ad, but look, the Barrie Colts.
Where's the optimist in you?
Yeah, I can't really talk myself into it. I'm sorry. For one, I think the Barrie Colts' biggest need right now is at the forward position. I think that moving assets for Ben Danford, I mean, as good as he is, really just doesn't make sense to me when you have all these offensive holes. Trading for Danford and not grabbing any offense is almost committing to trying to win every game 1-0 and 2-1. And on top of that, with the way the Barrie Colts have started this year, we still need to remember this Barrie Colts team needs to prove to management and ownership right now that they are a team worth buying for. Right now, you're 8th in the conference. I don't see any reason for Marty Williamson and Howie Campbell to be looking at this team and saying, let's go all in right now. Of course, that can change. The Barrie Colts team does have a lot of potential to turn things. At the very moment, I don't see the Barrie Colts going after a Ben Danford type player if they keep playing the way they have to start the season.
And it's tough, too, when you look at the Brantford Bulldogs and that draft capital they've had. Like, if you look back, when they traded away Dorian Donovan to the Saginaw Spirit 2 years ago, the picks they got in that deal, even with the trades last year with the Sudbury Wolves, they've got the draft capital, and they're going to be a team to really keep an eye on. But we are ready to go now for the third period of play here at the Bayshore. 5-on-5 hockey, 3-0 for the Attack. Face off at center ice. Edgar taking the draw here against Max DeLille. And we are back underway. Colts send this one into the Owen Sound zone. Here's Jaden Newton to the nets, and that goes wide. Aitchison can't keep it at the point as that's going to sail all the way back into the Barrie zone. Aitchison back behind his own net, being chased there by Zarowski. They'll send this one ahead. It hits the linesman. Colts get it to the Owen Sound line, and they'll turn it back the other way. Zarowski passes that one across, goes off a Colt player. Newton back behind his own net, gives that to Kayshawn Aitchison. Newton in the corner. We'll pass this one ahead. Schneid couldn't get a stick on it. There's Max DeLille, kicked aside by Harevic. Banks keeps this one in at the point. Ahead. There's the shot. That's blocked by Edgar. That was Deck who fired that one. Puck goes back behind the Colts net. Zarowski is there. Bumped off it by Aitchison. Ahead for Edgar. And then Edgar gets this one out to center ice. Puck's picked up by the Attack. Greenberg ahead for DeLille. DeLille hits the brakes. Back to Greenberg. Sends that one across, but Zarowski at the back door couldn't get a stick on it. Colts get this one up. Desiderio after it now. Nicholas Desiderio in the corner. Sends it behind the Attack net. Salandra in front. Baudouin couldn't get a stick on it. Puck sent to the corner. Nancy gets to it first for Owen Sound. Nancy up to center. Salandra will send it back to the Attack zone. Rogers ahead. Getting a piece on it was Vader, so no icing. Harevic will leave it there for Emerton. Emerton to the line. Rogers keeps this one in play. That's going to go around to the far side. Mason Ray. He's had a solid game here tonight for Owen Sound. Keeps that one down low. Desiderio, he's knocked over. Baudouin will follow it up. Gets around Crawford. Cole Baudouin in the attacking zone. Still with it. Puck rolls to the corner. To the net. George with the paddle down. makes that one look easy as he just covers it up.
A little bit more rough stuff here behind the net. A couple Colts involved. That's Bodwin and Salandra getting into it with a couple Owen Sound players. And decent start to the period again for the Colts. They've came out looking to get a couple opportunities. They came close early in the period with that Edgar Newton Schneid line. It's looked like a pretty solid third line here so far.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising to see Edgar's line out there to start the third period. Just goes to show the confidence that Dylan Smoskowitz has with that third line here tonight. Despite the score, they've been performing quite well. Face off here to the right with Carter George. Gardner's going to take the draw against Pierce Bowie. Face off one by the Colts. Asadorian trying to take the shot. That was blocked by Rogers. Hands are at the point. That's going to go around the boards. After it is Roberts. Roberts sends that one ahead. Tristan DeLille gets it out to center ice. Sikora picking it up here for the attack. Puts it to an open wing. Hanser's the first one on it. Ahead. Crombie couldn't get a stick on it. Rogers, backhand pass up to DeLille. That misses. Colts will regroup in their own zone. Crombie, that's center. Drops that one back. Hanser, he's bumped off the puck. Crombie follows it up. Sikora trying to get a stick on it. Crombie had his stick tied up. Looks like both teams wanted penalties on that one play, but none coming. Then Asadorian's tripped up. Puck sent back into the Barrie zone. Aitchison up to center ice. Arnett's there for the attack. He'll send that one deep. Around the boards it goes. Hanser, first one on it. Aitchison back behind the net. Up the middle. Sikora in front. Couldn't get a stick on it. Colts moving up. Carter Lowe chips that one forward, but makes contact with one of the players on the Barrie Colts bench, and that's going to be a whistle.
Felt like both teams going back and forth, coming close to taking penalties, and Scott Ray getting upset again there at the officials, and then Asadorian trying to come up the middle. He gets taken down, no call there, and so we remain 5-on-5. The officials letting them play here tonight.
Well, it's kind of funny on that one play. I think both benches wanted penalties. The referees, like you said, not calling it. The attack trying to wrap it around. That was Munnings. Munnings, side of the net, puts it off the end boards. Nelson will send this one around. Mikas gives chase for the attack. Back up by him. Govro can't get it out. Greenberg's shot stopped by Hrebeck. Govro. The line kept in by Greenberg. Colts follow it up. Puck's in the neutral zone. Mikas will send it across. There's a big hit as McCormick laid out Mikas. What a hit, Jonah McCormick. Now the Colts with possession deep in their own zone. Aitchison will send that one ahead to Govro. Govro stopped there by Nancy. Nelson gives chase. Aitchison chips this one out to center. Munnings is there. He's tied up by Lowe. Deck trying to get a stick on it. But now we've got a penalty coming against the Barrie Colts. As the attack enter the attacking zone, here's Nancy in the corner. Harry Nancy in front, back to the blue line, and it's touched by McCormick. And now we'll get the call. It's for roughing. And this is actually going against Jonah McCormick of the Barrie Colts.
Yeah, it looked like this one happened right in front of the benches. McCormick coming in and wrestles a guy down from behind there. Not what you want to see if you're the Colts. And that one right in front of Scott Ray. If that one wasn't called, things would have got interesting.
Sometimes it's just entertaining watching Scott Ray. Although I don't think I'd want him knowing that we're watching. So it is a power play now for the Owen Sound Attack. It's their second power play of the night. They're already 0 for 1 as the Colts will get this one down the length of the ice. The attack forced to regroup deep in their own zone. Banks will settle things down here for Owen Sound. Bowie reaches center. He'll dump this one in. Hrebeck out of his net. Plays this one up the middle. Colts chasing after it short-handed, but Banks gets back in time, beating Bodwin to the puck. John Banks comes out from behind the net. He'll drop this one back to Bowie. Pierce Bowie picks up speed. Passing that one over. Here's Tristan DeLille in the high slot. Back to Banks. Dak takes the shot. That goes wide. Banks on the near side. Dropping that one down low to Bowie. Schneid's there. Can't get it out. Attack still with it. Sent across. Here's Dak. Deck with it, across one-timer, scores, Pierce. A pretty passing play there for the Owen Sound Attack. It's their first power play goal, and it's now 4-0.
Nice pass across there by Michael Deck to Pierce Bowie, who's now got 2 points in this one, and that may or may not be the kill shot here on the Barrie Colts tonight. Puck goes back to the point. Banks able to keep it in. Puck goes across to Deck and step up, fakes the shot, got Passmore down, trying to block the shot, and sends it across to Bowie. Hrebeck had no time to get across, and here's Bowie with a wide open net, capitalizes. Owen Sound up 4-0 here tonight in a game that Barrie Colts lead the shot clock 21-18.
Well, I know we had some optimists in the chat in regards to what happened in Niagara a week ago. We'll have to wait and see if the Colts can get back into this one, as it's now 4-0. Pierce Bowie with his 6th goal of the season. Kayshawn Aitchison deep in his own zone. Ahead to Edgar. He'll tip that one into the Owen Sound end. George is out of his net to play it. Sends that one around. Jaden Newton puts a stick on it. Schneid. Around the boards it goes. Aitchison can't get a stick on it, as that's going to go down the length of the ice. Armstrong deep in his own zone. Sends it around. Micus. Far side. Attack with it. There's Max DeLille. His shot stopped by Hrebeck. Aitchison chasing after it. Sends that one ahead to Rogers. Rogers takes a hit there from Newton. Newton trying to play it. Battle in the corner, deep in the Colts zone. Rogers across to Roberts. Stopped by Hrebeck. Rebound. Armstrong's there. But Ben Hrebeck is going to pounce on that one. As this Owen Sound Attack team, they just don't let up.
You know, it's funny, you look at the shot clock and you'd think this is the most competitive game these two teams have played against each other, or most closest game they've played, but looking at the score clock, it's quite the opposite. The other two games, tight 1-goal games, but Owen Sound here capitalizing on their opportunities and lead 4-0.
This Attack team just getting the job done here tonight. They have a shorthanded goal, a power play goal, 2 even strength goals. We're just playing a complete game here tonight at the Bayshore. As the Colts trying to get something going here. Gardner in his own zone, ahead for Crombie. Colts can't get it out of the zone. Everton follows it up. Macedonian will give chase. Crombie back behind the Owen Sound net, beats out the icing. In front, pass is blocked, and George right there, right time, as he'll cover it up. And we've been seeing that quite a bit with Carter George. He's already on his knees. He's got the paddle there, the pad's down, and he's just waiting for that puck just to roll to him.
He just seems to know where every puck's going to go, and through all 60 minutes of the game, it's this last few years watching George against the Barrie Colts has been so fun to watch. I mean, he seems to bring his best against them every single time. He doesn't seem to ever have an off night against the Barrie Colts, and tonight no different. 21 of 21 so far.
Well, I know when the season got underway, a lot of people were saying, okay, so the season's going to start. Carter George is going to be made available. He's going to go to a contender, and that's it. Owen Sound's going to go into a rebuild. With the way this team is playing, they continue to get wins. They're right now at tops of the Midwest Division. This team could actually become a buyer and conference.
Yeah, it's interesting. The one question for them, though, is with the goaltending situation, they have 3 goaltenders. By stats, the highest save percentage is Trenton Bennett. He has the option to go off to the NCAA next year. Carter George is second, and he's going to go off to LA next year. And then third is Matthew Kaprowski. So the question is, do you focus on the future where Kaprowski may be the only guy coming back? Or do you focus on the current where it looks like George and Kaprowski are your 2 best goaltenders, or George and Bennett are your 2 best goaltenders, and you look to trade Kaprowski for an upgrade somewhere else?
Well, Dale DeGray has some tough decisions to make, and I think this is a tough situation he likes to be in, especially with the way things have been the last few seasons for the Owen Sound Attack, falling short of expectations, and this year exceeding expectations. The Attack are able to get this one down the length of the ice, and that's going to be an icing call with 13:11 left to go here in this third period.
I mean, looking at all 3 games that this Barrie Colts team has played against Owen Sound, and some of the other games I've been able to watch of the Attack this year, I mean, they've just been a great team all throughout. They haven't been relying on their goaltending to get them through. The offense has been coming through. Guys like Pierce Bowie, Tristan DeLille have had amazing seasons, and it's led to Owen Sound being in a very good spot here, not only in this game, but throughout the season.
So the puck goes out of play, so we'll try this face-off once more in the attack zone. And even just looking at some of their signings from the offseason, you look at John Banks, such a great skater on the blue line. He's active, he's getting the points. And then you also have Sikora, who's been finding the back of the net regularly. It's such a team effort here with this Owen Sound attack. Face-off won by Owen Sound is Mason Ray. He'll pass this one ahead. Picked off by Beaudoin. Beaudoin trying the toe drag, but Rogers pokes it away. The Attack able to get this one down the length of the ice. Evan Passmore is there to collect it. Passmore ahead for Beaudoin. That's deflected before the red line, and now it's an icing call against the Barrie Colts as this clock slowly chipping away.
Dylan Smoskowitz kind of at a point now where, 4-0, might as well get desperate. Cole Beaudoin and Brad Gardner out there together alongside Calvin Crombie.
Well, remember, it's also the rivalry weekend coming up against the North Bay Battalion, so that'll be Barrie's first look at the troops, and there's a pair of former Colts that are going to be excited to play against their former team in Moses and Vaughn. As the Colts move this one ahead, Beaudoin trying to get a stick on it, and that's going to be another icing call as Barrie just trying to get those long stretch passes, but they're not connecting.
Well, Parker Vaughn, that's a guy that you kind of knew last year. He was going to have to come in and basically fit into the OHL right away if the Barrie Colts were going to keep them with their status of going all in last year. They weren't going to keep him around with the numbers he had, and Vaughn may turn into a really good player, but at the time just didn't fit the Colts. Moses, a guy that didn't really get things going with Barrie, and then he had no points in the first 5 games. It was getting decent minutes, and then they trade him, and basically right away he started taking off with that Owen Sound team or North Bay team.
So that's going to be Saturday night back in Barrie. That game will be on Rogers TV, and then Sunday afternoon up in North Bay, you can catch the radio broadcast right here on the channel at the live stream, getting underway at 1:45 p.m. Desiderio's knocked over as the puck's in the neutral zone. Betkowski sends it ahead. Bowie passing it up to Sikora. Won't peel around. His shot deflected. Acidorian skates it up through center. Acidorian sending it deep. Desiderio gives chase. Into the corner it goes. Sikora comes up with it. Puts it up the middle. Picked off there by Salandra. Salandra, though, can't hold it. Tristan DeLille knocks it free. DeLille's going to go off for a change. Colts with it. Long pass picked off by Deck in the neutral zone. Michael Deck drops it back. Zarowski to the net. Deflected wide by DeLille. Wraparound scores. Max DeLille. His first career OHL goal. And it's now 5-0 Owen Sound.
Well, I mentioned earlier, DeLille was looking for that first career OHL goal, and he gets that here. Nice play by the Attack. Zarowski played it down low, looking for DeLille for the tip-in. Couldn't get it there, but then able to grab it behind the net, wraps it around, puts it in, and Owen Sound extending their lead to 5.
Well, this is a game getting away from the Barrie Colts as Max DeLille extends that lead for the Owen Sound Attack. Colts are going to look to try and get something on the board here as Govro avoids the hit from Deck. Emerton carrying it in, takes the shot, stopped there by George. Vader blasts that one, but it's blocked by Zarowski. And now the Attack moving up. Here's a breakaway, shot stopped by Horebic. That was Michael Deck, loose puck. Max DeLille fanned on it. He was alone right in front of the net. Puck was bouncing on him. Colts get it down the ice. Munnings there to play it now for the Attack. DeLille's going to dump this one in. Horebic lets that one get by him as the puck rolls to the corner. Approaching the halfway mark of this third period. Owen Sound in full control of this hockey game. Passmore back to Aitchison. Evan Passmore gets it again. Up the middle. Doesn't connect with Newton. And that's going to be another icing call against the Barrie Colts.
Feels like a few of those passes coming from their own end have just not hit for the Barrie Colts. Seems like they had a couple of bad icings tonight, and it's part of the reason they find themselves down in this 5-0 situation.
Well, I like the optimism that I'm still seeing on the chat. As the Colts, they have time here, down by 5. We'll see if they can slowly chip at that lead. As the puck's deep in the attack in the Colt zone, Aitchison's back to play it. Sends that one ahead to Edgar. Schneid up to Newton. Jaden Newton carrying this one in, nearly offside. Edgar to the net by George. As even Edgar had a great opportunity, but Carter George doing George things.
That looked like Edgar snuck through there looking for his first career OHL goal. Was able to get in behind the defenders. Newton able to sneak it to him and tried to go up top, but looked like even Elliot Arnott from behind got a piece of that shot.
Yeah, it looked like Arnett, with that reach, able to deflect that chance. With 10:06 remaining now in this third period, face off to the right of George. Macedonian taking the draw here for the Colts, comes back to the point. Crombie, he'll play it along the boards, backhand across. Aitchison receives the pass. Gardner has that bounce on him. Crawford behind his own net, sends that one around to the far side. Aitchison along the boards. He'll send this back to the point. That goes off the skate of Ray and down the ice. Passmore back to collect it here for the Colts. We're starting to get a let's go Blue Jays chant here at the Bay Shore. They just announced the update from Seattle. It's a lively crowd here at the Bay Shore with the attack up 5-0. Colts send it ahead. Here's Alex Asadorian on the wing. Hits the brakes. Asadorian still with it. Trying to play it. Loses an edge. And they're going to call a trip on that play. Or actually a hook. So the Barrie Colts, they're going to get a power play here.
Well, David Betkowski, not happy at all with the way Alex Asadorian went down on that play. But at the end of the day, the Barrie Colts are going to get a power play, try and get a bit of offense going. Even if you can't come back in this game, you're still looking to get some offense going, get some momentum going into that weekend home and home with the North Bay Battalion.
And this Barrie Colts power play brought to you by Frontline Hockey Apparel. You can check them out at frontlinehockeyapparel.com. It's now the 5th power play of the hockey game for the Barrie Colts. As they win the faceoff, back to the line, Emerton. Emerton across to Aitchison. Emerton receives it again. Bodwin down to Gardner. Gardner with a shot. That goes wide of the net. Aitchison after it for the Colts. He's taken into the boards by Arnett. Battle ensues along the far boards. 1:35 left in the power play for Barrie. Aitchison digs it free. Emerton sends that one back behind the Owen Sound net. Bodwin gives chase in the corner. Gardner across finds Aitchison. Kayshawn Aitchison from the point. Back to Bodwin. Down low to Gardner. Gardner takes the shot. Stopped by George. Doesn't give Gardner much to look at. As Carter George just continues to shut it down.
Colts had 2 players down low there, and Gardner and Low, and Arnett was down there for Owen Sound, but he blocked off the pass, so Gardner's only option really there was to shoot it, and George also giving him no room. Barrie's still looking for that first goal of the night here.
1:17 still to work with on this power play for the Colts. Desiderio will take the draw here against Jake Crawford. One there by the Colts. Teague Vader now at the point. Across finds Salandra. Vader again at the line. Salandra down low to Desiderio. That goes off the paddle of George. Arnett's going to send it around. Kept him by Salandra. Salandra across finds Crombie. Calvin Crombie with a shot. Stopped by George. He had Desiderio standing in front. Schneid trying to dig it free. 52 seconds still to go in the power play. Vader at the point. Keeps it in. Pressure there from Crawford. Crombie to Vader. Vader at the point. Goes back to Crombie. Calvin Crombie across. That's blocked. Rogers got a stick on it. Schneid collects loose puck. And then Vader can't keep it in at the point. And that's going to sail all the way back into the Barrie zone. Desiderio from his own blue line. 28 seconds left. Crombie carrying this one in, but Desiderio could not hold that blue line, and it's an offside call.
Interesting as the Colts getting players like Bodo and Aitchison back in the last couple of weeks, changing their power play units around, and we see Calvin Crombie, Joe Salandra down on the second unit. Colts going with 2 defenders on the top unit, Emerton and Aitchison right now.
Well, power play continues here for another 17 seconds. As Justin Hanser at his own blue line, drops back to Acidorian. Edgar goes back to Acidorian, takes the shot. George got a shoulder on. Hanser down low, finds Acidorian. Back to Newton, but he couldn't control that pass. The power play has come to an end. Colts continue to put on the pressure here. Newton picks it up in the corner. Back to the line. Hanser takes the shot. That goes over the net. Armstrong trying to keep it at the point. That's deflected. Forced out there by Nelson. Sends that towards the net. Horevic will play it. Under 7 minutes left to go here in the third period. 5-0 Owen Sound. Colts regrouping. Finishing up a line change here as Armstrong will now move it forward. Low to McCormick. McCormick forcing his way into the offensive end. Jonah McCormick in the corner. That pass is blocked. Grovro taken into the boards. McCormick trying to take that one free. It's taken away by the attack as Deck will send this one down the ice. Aitchison gets a stick on it. Grovro is there. Deck takes the shot. That goes over the net. Colts can't get it out of the zone. Kept in by Greenberg. Aitchison will send this one forward. That's center ice. Reaching for it's McCormick. Far side. Nelson sends it deep. Attack will make a line change here. Kayshawn Aitchison. He's taken into the boards. Cole Bodwin playing there in the corner, trying to generate some space. He'll go back behind his own net. Being chased there by Zarowski. Cole Bodwin trying to go end to end, loses the handle of it. Desiderio gives chase. Bodwin gets to it, puts it behind the net. Desiderio towards the net. Loose puck. Aitchison stopped by George. Loose puck. Salandra stopped by George. That may have been Carter George's biggest save of the game. Bodwin sending that one around. Nancy trying to get it out. He stopped. Second attempt. Zarowski chasing after it. He's going to beat out the icing call. Cole Zarowski behind the Colts net. In front. Couldn't get it to DeLille. Here's Rogers at the line. And Horevic gets the glove on it with 5:17 to go. And right now it just looks like Cole Bodwin just trying to do everything himself at this point.
Well, it's interesting. A player of Bodwin's stardom, you sometimes see those guys maybe relax a bit in games like this, but Bodwin's a guy that never takes a shift off and trying to create an opportunity of his own there. Barrie ended up getting a chance out in front with Joe Salandra, and Carter George, I don't even know if he saw the puck coming across, just quickly slid across, got his shoulder in front of it, made a nice save there to keep it off the board.
Well, for the Barrie Colts, a lot of their shots, they're still leading on the shot clock, 27-24, but a lot of the times it seems as though George is ready for that shot. He's lined up, he's set, but that was the first time I think really we've seen the Barrie Colts kind of making George move a little bit more in his crease. And, you know, if you're going to beat a goaltender like George, you need to get him to move.
Yeah, it feels like some of these opportunities for the Barrie Colts tonight, you know, they're decent opportunities, but when you're facing Carter George, you're not going to capitalize on those opportunities because he's going to make the saves. That's an opportunity there from Joe Salandra that you need to get. You need to get chances like that against guys like Carter George, or else you're not going to really have much of a chance, even though you have 27 shots tonight.
So we'll get the faceoff brought back into the Barrie Colts zone. So faceoff to the left of Horevic. Will taking the draw here against Alex Acidorian. Faceoff won by the Colts. They'll send this one around. With the half boards, Emerton sends it back to Vader. Vader trying to go back to Emerton. Acidorian will send this one down the ice. Chasing after his Crombie. He's going to beat out the icing call here. Calvin Crombie. He's knocked down. Gardner after the loose puck. Colts trying to move this one around. Puck's in the corner. Gardner back to Vader. Vader keeps it in. Second attempt. There's Acidorian. Crombie trying to get that bouncing puck at the line. Vader's there again. Sikora can't get it out. Loose puck, Gardner. And that's kicked out by Bowie. Emerton sends this one deep. Back behind the Owen Sound net. Arnett turns it over to Asadorian. In front of Crombie. Stopped by George. And George able to cover it up. As the Colts get the chances, but they just can't solve Carter George right now.
Well, Crombie, Asadorian, and Gardner have had some of the better chances here tonight, and a lot of them have seemed to come or begin from behind the net. One of them grabbing it behind the net, putting it out front for a player driving the net. Seems like that's what they like to do, and they've been trying it a bit tonight. It hasn't worked yet on Carter George, and they come close there again on another nice opportunity.
Face off to the right of George. Newton taking the draw here against Jake Crawford. Face off, won by the attack. Munnings around his own net. Facing pressure there from Edgar. Flips this one out to center ice. Picked up by Newton. Newton sends this one in. George slows it down behind the net. Banks is there to pick it up for the attack. Ray reaches center ice for Owen Sound. He's going to try and send it in. It was blocked by Armstrong. Sends it back to Hanser. Justin Hanser. Back across to Armstrong. Hanser again. Reaches center ice. He's going to send this one deep. George behind the net. Slows it down. Edgar in front to Schneid. Schneid goes around the attack net. Still with possession. Trying to peel back. Crawford takes him into the boards. And Owen Sound will move it up as John Banks. Near side to Nancy. Nancy gets by Hanser. Hanser trying to play it. Nancy was on his knees. Edgar up to Hanser. Nancy again. Can't hold it. Hanser gets it out. Up to Schneid. Schneid's going to put this one deep. Off the end boards. George plays it behind his own net. 3:26 left to go in the third period. Harry Nancy through center. Finds Crawford on the wing. Jake Crawford in the corner. He's tied up there by Aitchison. Nancy there to play it. Carter Lowe's going to send it around. McCormick on the far side picks up that loose puck, gets it out to center, and then a couple of attack players run over as Kovro and McCormick run over Arnett and Crawford right in front of the Owen Sound Attack bench, and we're going to get some penalties.
Well, when you do simultaneous hits, the biggest issue with it is that two players can't have the puck at the same time, and Luke Govro's guy did not have the puck there, so he'll go to the box. As puck had been gone for a couple seconds there off of our net. McCormick and Govro, those are two guys that like to hit, and they show it off there late in this game.
So as a result, the attack going on the power play for the third time tonight. Already 1 for 2 on the man advantage. Already up 5-0. As we'll get this face-off now to the right of Ben Harebic. Gardner's there to take the face-off for the Colts. Up against Tristan DeLille. Attacking it back to the point. Banks riding the blue line. Deck back to Banks. Here's Bowie. Bowie, his pass deflected. Colts trying to pick it up. Bodwin got it ahead. Now the Colts will get it to the line and out. Pierce Bowie. That's center ice. Picking it up here for Owen Sound. He'll peel back. Giving this one up to Banks. Banks picks up some speed. Passing that one across. Deck trying to go to Bowie. He'll catch up to it. Bowie downloaded DeLille. Back to Bowie. At the point, Banks sets up Bowie. Here's Bowie's pass, blocked by Bodwin. Loose puck. Colts trying to get to it. Kept in. Nancy. Nice little move there to Deck. Deck takes the shot. Harebic saved. Loose puck put wide by DeLille. Bowie gets it in the corner. Gives it up to Nancy. At the point, Banks. Back to Nancy. Harry Nancy. Nice move. Around shot. Scores. Harry Nancy with the hands. Gets that one to go through the 5-hole of Ben Harebic, and it's now 6-0.
Nice move there by Nancy. It looked like Harebic maybe got caught a bit off guard by that one. Nancy's second of the night as he comes up to the point, gets the puck, coming to the middle, able to deke around Keith Vader. Gardner couldn't get the puck from him, and Nancy puts it home. Nancy, a guy that had 7 goals last year, 4 of them came in the month of October, and then really struggled after that, but still was able to get drafted by the Leafs. I'm sure Owen Sound expecting a lot more from him outside of October success here this year.
Yeah, that experience with the Toronto Maple Leafs camp going a long way here for Harry Nancy. As he's now up to 4 goals on the season, and this one just getting away from the Barrie Colts. We're now in the final 2 minutes. Greenberg takes a bump there from Newton. Greenberg and Newton Exchanging slashes. Buff goes deep. Hanser will give that one up. Max DeLille knocks that one out of the air. Hanser gets to it again. Newton puts it back behind his own net. Armstrong takes a bump there. Stays with it, though. Carries it in front of his own net. Up ahead for Newton. Jaden Newton giving it up to Edgar. Edgar on the wing. Takes the shots, and George, he's able to hold on to it with 1:23 left to go in this hockey game.
Well, for the Barrie Colts, 6 goals against here today, 5 the other night against Brampton Steelheads, and it kind of feels like maybe the chances that they've been allowing from these other teams starting to catch up to them. Ben Arebic and Arvin Jaswal can only make so many stops each night, and some of the losses to the Barrie Colts in recent games maybe looking a bit better on the scoreboard because the way the goalies have played, but these last couple nights, 11 goals against for the Colts. They're going to have to shore things up defensively, or else they're going to be in for a rough weekend against the North Bay Battalion.
Face-off won by the Colts. Salandra comes back to the point. Around the attack net he goes. Salandra back to Passmore. Takes the shot. That hits Carter Lowe in front. Lowe after the loose puck. Desiderio tied up by Arnett. Colts trying to move it around as we're approaching the final minute of the third period. Puck goes down the ice. Passmore there to collect it for Barrie. Passmore deep in his own zone. Sikora on the forecheck as this attack team, they're not letting up despite the score. Puck's going to go down the length of the ice, and another icing call here against the Barrie Colts as they're just not able to get things going through the neutral zone.
Just feels like Owen Sound's shutting them down right now, and this was a game that was 1-0 at the halfway mark of this game. It was a winnable one for the Barrie Colts that has gone very ugly here over the last little bit, and you'd think the shot clock was heavily in favor of Owen Sound tonight, but the Barrie Colts is out shooting them 29-26. They just haven't been able to capitalize on the opportunities like Owen Sound has.
And the penalty kill, a big factor here tonight for Owen Sound. Mason Ray with a shorthanded goal tonight, as the Colts just not able to get that power play unit clicking. Puck's in the neutral zone, picked up by Greenberg. He's going to put that one back to Munnings. Greenberg gets it again, 25 seconds left. Max DeLille, Nelson, his shot stopped as it's going to be a slashing call here against the Barrie Colts. As Nelson had his stick knocked out of his hands as he was heading towards the net. That's Evan Passmore now going to the box. So right back to the man advantage here for the Owen Sound Attack with 17 and a half seconds remaining.
Yeah, one final opportunity for the power play that's been really strong tonight. Special teams on both sides of things for the Owen Sound Attack been great tonight. Nelson trying to shoot. Passmore takes the stick out. And that one's called. And yeah, halfway through the game as well, the power plays were 4-1 for Barrie. So if Barrie was able to capitalize on their power plays, whole different game here tonight, but they weren't. Now Owen Sound's gotten a few, and they've definitely capitalized on it.
Well, the Colts were playing a disciplined game for the first half. You can't let this attack power play have those chances. That's why they have the second best power play in the OHL right now. As the puck goes behind Carter George's net, he's just going to stand there and leave it for the defense. And that will do it. It's a final here at the Bayshore. The Owen Sound Attack shut out the Barrie Colts 6-0.
Well, you could kind of see this game, kind of the turning point of it. The Barrie Colts had a big opportunity on the power play halfway through off of a bad penalty by Braden Rogers. He flipped the puck out for a delay of game penalty where he wasn't really pressured by anyone on the Barrie Colts side of things, and looked like it may have been a opportunity for Barrie Colts to turn this game around, get things going, but they weren't able to do that. Instead, it was a short-handed goal for Harry Nancy, and just like that, it was really all Owen Sound after that.
Yeah, the Barrie Colts had I want to say another good first period, like we saw against the Brampton Steelheads on Saturday, but that seems to be the trend with this team. They're not getting that full 60-minute effort, and it cost them here. And even on that penalty kill, as you mentioned, they had the power play chances, but Mason Ray gets that shorthanded goal. Mason Ray, I think it was the second power play for the Barrie Colts. He basically killed off that penalty all by himself. He was on the forecheck, even though he was shorthanded.
Yeah, he was all over the Barrie Colts on that opportunity and forcing turnovers and even though it wasn't him that got the shorthanded goal, it was Harry Nancy. He was able to put on all that pressure and maybe frustrate the Barrie Colts into creating that turnover opportunity that led to the goal. And it was an okay game for the Barrie Colts is really how I would put it. I don't think they played really bad tonight, but I don't think they were that great either. And that's kind of led to Owen Sound taking the game over on that shorthanded goal. They got another one really quickly after that. And I think that was the punch that took the Colts out of this game.
And the other thing, too, when you look at the opponent they're playing here tonight, this Owen Sound Attack team has been red hot. And I know Dylan Smoskowitz and the coaching staff, they don't want excuses. They want to see the results. But like you said, they did play a pretty good game. They outshot the Owen Sound Attack here tonight. Sure, a lot of those shots were square to Carter George, but it's unfortunate like how this all played out. And I think the score doesn't really reflect how this game actually ended up.
Yeah, it seems like the Barrie Colts, I mean, the offense is kind of going through its ebbs and flows. I mean, there are some moments where it looks really good, like early in that Brampton game. They get 2 goals, and then after that, they've kind of been silent ever since. They get that 1 goal in the third, but outside of that, really nothing going on for them. But I think if they can take one positive out of this game, it is the shot clock, playing a tough team in the Owen Sound Attack, and kind of going head to head with them on the shot clock, despite the ugly score that it ended up being.
Yeah, the game just really got away from the Barrie Colts in that third period, and it's one of those games where okay, it's done, it's in the books. You take the positives and you build on it, and now you got to prepare for a tough weekend ahead against the North Bay Battalion, which is never easy. It's the rivalry week, and we'll just have to wait and see how this all plays out.
Well, one thing about Barrie and North Bay, it doesn't matter if one team's at the top, one team's at the bottom, if it's switched vice versa, or if they're both top-tier teams or both bottom-tier teams. They're going to play each other very hard. We saw that last season, even after the North Bay Battalion sold off the deadline, mainly selling off to the Barrie Colts. They were still able to play some hard games against the Barrie Colts. They handed the Colts a couple losses down the stretch. So, yeah, it'll definitely be a fun 2 games no matter what. Maybe it's a split. Maybe it's a sweep. We'll have to see.
So no surprise, the Owen Sound Attack sweeping the 3 stars here tonight. Your 3rd star, Pierce Bowie with a goal and 2 assists. Carter George, the 2nd star with the 29 save shutout. And Harry Nancy, the 1st star with 2 goals for the Attack here tonight. So that'll do it for us here at the Harry Lumley Bayshore Community Center in Owen Sound. For Josh McCann, I'm Mike Poirier saying so long, and we will talk to you again soon.